Hello everyone and welcome to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. This is a special Thursday edition as we were moved to accommodate MLK Day and make sure that everyone could celebrate accordingly. Today, if you can't tell, is Pokemon Day. That's right, it's Triple P, it's Pokemon on Perilous Paths. And as always, we focus on challenging and adventurous speedruns here, so it's not just any Pokemon runs, it's Pokemon on hard mode, super hard mode, and post-DLC hard mode. So if we look at the schedule of what we're doing today, we are first doing Pokémon Legends ZA Rogue Mega Rush with Chrysaorus. That is kind of the post-game DLC. I'll let them talk about that a little bit more. Then we're going to do Pokemon Puzzle League, PPL. There's a lot of P letters in, and Pikachu is the unofficial mascot in this show. So Pokemon Puzzle League is One Piece Stadium Super Hard because, you know, it's super hard. What else are we going to do? And then Pokemon Trading Card Game Hard Mode with Tauronite. I am super excited for all three of these, but we have a lot of content on Hotfix and GDQ in general. So if you're interested in what's coming up, we do have, of course, our specials over the weekends. Make sure you go to gdq.gg/hotfix and check out the full schedule there. We're not the Monday show, but there is still a lot of good content coming up throughout the week and the weekend. So make sure you get ahead of that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Chrysaorus, who is doing Pokemon Legends ZA Rogue Mega Rush on the Switch 2. I'm super excited for this. How are you doing today?
I am kind of tired because, you know, I am in essentially one day in the future, as it is now currently 1 minute past midnight where I am. But you know what? I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to showcase this pretty fun, neat little category that's just been added to the leaderboards as of a few days ago. So, hello everyone, I'm Chrysaorus. I do a lot of Pokemon stuff mainly on the Switch. That might change soon, but we'll get to that later. But as of right now, it probably has a few explanations to go through, which is, what is Rogue Mega Rush? Rogue Mega Rush is a mode in this game where at the very end, where once you've done all the Rogue Megas, you effectively get the option to fight all the Rogue Megas in one go without only having 3 heals. You can take any team of 6 with you that you like, so this will be our team of 6 that we'll be taking. And I think before we even go and start this run, I would like to explain just a little bit why we are picking the 6 Pokemon that we have with us into this essential challenge. Essentially, you need to focus on our team and understand them in cores instead of like individual Pokemon. So to understand that, we're going to go through our first Pokemon, which is the Annihilate, which is essentially going to be our main Pokemon throughout most of the DLC. If you've seen casuals and other people talk about how do you deal with Rogue Megas in the DLC, you essentially want to use this. Essentially, they talk about this, and yes, the speedrun does use this as well, with the moveset of Work Up, Screech, Focus Energy, and Rage Fist. Main goal is get all the buffs that we can, decrease the opponent's defense, smash. To make this even more damaging, we also have access to Pumpkaboo, which its move Trick or Treat allows us to essentially add the Ghost typing to our opponent's Pokemon and allow us to do double damage. As for those who don't know, in the super effective type chart, Ghost is super effective against Ghost, so we get to do more damage. The other core of this team is, I call it the Frost core, which is the components of Trevenant, Lucario, and Baxcalibur. Trevenant is similar to Pumpkaboo in the case of instead of using Trick or Treat to add the Ghost typing, it will use Forest Curse to add the Grass typing. If you've seen the AGDQ run of Rank F, which if you haven't, you should go watch, you've seen this in the Rogue Dragonite fight where they added the Grass typing on Pumpkaboo so that Heracross can do more damage. But instead of using Heracross, we're instead using Baxcalibur with its Ice type moves. Believe me, when we see the amount of damage we're going to be doing with Baxcalibur's Ice moves, you're going to be like, wait, what? So keep that in mind. And then finally, we have our Fighting Core, which consists of Lucario, who's mainly here to deal some damage, decrease the defense, and build up Mega Meter, and then going into Surfetched, which is essentially going to be our big fighting guy for exactly 2 fights. But, you know, that's essentially the main gist. I'll explain a little bit more as we go into the fights. Anyway, before we do that, there is one tradition that I do before I start any run, which is this NPC. And essentially, this NPC just gives us a random drip. So this is going to be tonight's drip of the day. and this is what we're going to be looking like throughout the rest of this entire run. Hope you guys like this fashion, because we're stuck with it now.
I didn't realize it would do your hair too.
No, it doesn't do your hair. The hair I just put it. That's the one thing that it doesn't do. But it's just that I have a hairstyle in this profile which is just partially blonde and partially black, which you can do in this game. Without further ado, I think that's all the explanations that I need to do. Are we ready to go on the timer?
Yep, whenever you're ready, just give us a 3, 2, 1 and we'll go off your count.
All right, and that's the case. We'll be going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun. I'm excited.
So we're gonna start with the first boss, which is gonna be Rogue Mega Absol. If you've seen Rank F, you remember seeing this fight as Lucario, and we're gonna start with Lucario, but we're not actually gonna utilize the entirety of the fight with Lucario. First thing we're gonna do is we're just going to Screech the Absol to reduce its defense, and then immediately switch into Surf Edged. We're gonna hit a lit shit with a little bit of a Brick Break. It's fine if it misses. It's not ideal if it misses, but it's fine. Then we're gonna go in with a little bit of a... Oh, that's actually kind of bad. We got bad RNG with the flinch on Air Slash, which is fine. I just have to wait a little bit longer to set up another Swords Dance and then just go and hit him with a close combat. Then we'll go ahead and use a Brick Break to be able to deal just over half damage. And then we're going to use another plus move with Meteor Assault to essentially... Ooh, that's also not ideal. Okay, so did get a little bit of bad RNG to start off with this fight, which is unlucky, but sometimes it happens.
We do it
normally
now,
supposed
so
to deal
happen
enough damage to deal with this whole Rogue Mega fight, but sadly we did not. But that's fine. So not the greatest start.
All right, so how many are in this rush? Let's keep track, chat. We're at 1 out of how many?
27, so 26 more to go. One thing you may have noticed is that before I ended the fight, I actually switched which Pokemon I would kind of send out beforehand, so that the moment that this next fight starts, I can then just immediately go with the Pokemon I want, in this case being Goldgeist. Here we're going to add the Trick or Treat, and we're going to get ourselves another case of bad RNG. Slowbro has 2 moves that it can go for. We would really like to see its Water Pulse attack, but not its Side Beam, but sadly we are getting all of the rough RNG already at the very beginning of this game, which is fine. We'll just have to deal with it. But yeah, essentially we want to build up stacks of damage, and the reason why we want to specifically see Water Pulse is that because Water Pulse is a multi-hit move, and as we already know, if the more damage the more stacks of damage that Annihilate takes, the more damage the Rage Fists can do. We are really getting unlucky with our 50-50 coin flips. So we're just gonna have to just slowly chip this thing down until it eventually dies, which is kind of unfortunate how these first two fights go. But yeah, these first 2 fights are like the biggest reset points of the run typically. But then after that, it'll go smoothly, I promise. Speaking of a fight that actually goes smooth, we've seen the first core with the fighting core of Rogue Mega Absol. We've seen the Ghost core with Rogue Mega Slowbro. Now it's time for the Grass/Frost core with Rogue Mega Camerupt. What we're going to do with Camerupt is we're going to add the Grass typing to Camerupt. We're then going to switch into Lucario. We're going to then decrease the defense of the Camerupt, and now because it's typing, it's now weak to ice thanks to its fire, ground, and grass typing. So now we can go with an Icicle Crash into an Ice Fang just to build some more Mega Meter. We're going to go to another Icicle Spear. Then we're going to go ahead and another Ice Fang, and then with one more Icicle Spear, it is now taken down. Wow. And that's kind of like the 3 modes of this run. So now we're going to actually see what happens when the Annihilate strat actually goes correctly, because thankfully in this fight it is a lot more better than the Rogue Mega Slowbro. There's no like 50-50 coin flip RNG I have to deal with. So because of the Bullet Seed, so all I have to do is position myself away from Victory Bell enough so that it then goes for Bullet Seeds, make sure that my Annihilate takes all the damage, go ahead and use another workup, and then watch how much damage this Rage Fist actually does to this target. Whew. Almost a one-hit KO. In fact, you can't actually one-hit KO any of the Rogue Megas, except one if we get lucky, and that's this one. And it's really funny if we do. We just see its HP just get completely annihilated, and it's really funny.
Now, we were talking before we started that we do have a GDQ glove emote. So, chat, whenever you see us punch something to death like that, I want to see some gloves in the chat. And if you don't have the GDQ glove, one, you could sub and get it. But also, if you have anything related, punch related, ape related, feel free to spam some emotes when we do that.
So, like I said, we're just going to be setting up. And now we're going to go get a little bit of punch, and so close. That's fine, just one more Screech into one more Rage Fist, just then does the job.
If we were talking numbers, like we see the health bar, but if we were talking numbers, how much health do you think that would have been, that little sliver?
Like, they do have like an enormous amount of HP, like they have like 20x the normal amount of HP, so I'll probably say like about 20.
Okay. I mean, that still is not very much.
So here we're actually going to be using the Ice Core instead of the normal Fighting Core, because it is a bit faster than using Annihilate. So after we've done a little bit of damage and some with the Screech, we're going to set up our 2 Focus Energy and Swords Dance. We're going to hope that all 5 of these hits of these Icicle Spears land, which they do. Then we're going to make sure that we do another one. And you might be noticing that I'm sometimes using a move just for the sake of it, and that's because I'm actually So something I'll explain during this fight once I remember I need to heal. By the way, yes, that's one of my 3 heals gone, but that's fine. That's planned. Essentially, I need to make sure for these megas I'm doing plus moves, otherwise I'm only doing 30% of the damage that I'm normally supposed to be, whereas plus moves deal all 100%. So here, very finicky fight, I have to be very careful to use focus energy and make sure my Annihilate goes here, and then use walk up just before it goes away, just to make sure I get an extra hit off of that Phantom Force. Then I'm going to go quickly Screech, and then go into a Rage Fist, and hopefully, if I get the right damage range, this should be a 2-hit punch. Nope, unlucky. Sometimes that just happens.
Sliver's even smaller. That's like a 3 or 4 HP sliver right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Pokemon only does between 85 to 100% of its maximum damage, so even though I did get enough hits to deal the 2-hit KO, I just didn't hit the range to get the 2-hit KO, which is unfortunate, but it happens. Anyway, Mega Ampharos, this is another fight where I actually have to be very quick, so I have to make sure that I get the Trick or Treat off, but then position myself in a way that once all these Dragon Pulses come in, all of them hit my Annihilate, so I get all the damage stacks quickly. Thankfully, it didn't really matter this time because the Ampharos chose to go for a second one. This one, I need to make sure that my Annihilate, that is unfortunate. I want to make sure that my Annihilate didn't get hit by that Breaking Swipe, because now my attack is being reduced, so instead of this being a 2-hit KO, this is now a 3-hit KO, which is unfortunate, but thankfully it's like not much of a big deal. And there it goes down.
Now, to reiterate, this is like the hardest post-game content there is, right? And,
yeah.
And you're taking these down in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Like, the first 20 or so take like a minute each, like roughly a minute on average each. And then the last few take double the time, because they have multiple phases. So here, this one can be a bit finicky depending on how many stacks I can get quickly, because sadly for me, the Barbaracle doesn't have a multi-hit move, so it's a case of I need Barbaracle to hit me as much as it can. Ideally, it just spams a bunch of power punches. Hopefully it gets like one more power punch, if not Rock Slide will do. Which is fine, because now we can just go for one more Screech, and then just go for one more Rage Fist, and it's now down.
Now, I see you running around and picking up the orbs on the ground. What is that doing for you?
Okay, so the Mega Orb, so you might notice on the bottom right-hand corner, I think it's the right-hand corner, there's like a Mega Meter, and we need to fill a bar of that Mega Meter for us to do plus moves. Plus moves is the thing I mentioned earlier that we are required to use so that we actually do the actual damage. If not, we'll only be doing only 30% of the damage that we would normally be doing. So using moves build up Mega Meter, but also picking up those orbs builds up our Mega Meter as well. So here with Mawile, we want to make sure that we do things very carefully, or maybe not necessarily very carefully, but we need to make sure that we deal enough damage to skip a phase of Mawile, because if we don't, we'll be actually like losing a minute. But thankfully, we will be. Eventually, after Mawile goes enraged, Mawile will try and build up an attack and then go off the screen, and we won't be able to hit it for like a minute or so. So we need to make sure that we knocked it out before it does that. Sometimes we'll be doing precise damage onto the opposing Pokemon. You'll see this more in the later mode megas, where we're doing precise damage to make sure we avoid specific things. Anyway, time for what I call the time loss boss fight, because Frostlass, similar to like other boss fights, doesn't like doing a lot of attacks sometimes, so we have to see what attacks it gives us, and we need to make sure that we build up to 4 stacks before we start actually dealing damage. So that's 2. Icy Wind again is good. That's 3. So now I just need 1 more stack from this Frostlass before we can then start dealing damage. Please don't go for Will-O-Wisp. Good, that's a 2 KO. And now the Frostlass won't move, and we can just land our Rage Fist, and it's over.
Very nice.
This fight can be quite annoying sometimes. This is not the hard. Yeah, so the hardest fight is not here yet. The hardest fight is, funnily enough, the second to last fight in the game, but we're just gonna have to deal with that when we get there.
As it should be, though, right? You always want it at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the speed run. You want it at the beginning, but
yeah, similar to
you want it at the end.
Similar to that is actually problematic. Unfortunately, I didn't position myself properly to get all those hits, so now I'm gonna have to manually build up this meter back. So I have to wait till Altaria goes back down eventually, which thankfully after 3 Moonblasts it does. So we just need to wait for 1 more Dragon Pulse to start powering up. And then we should be fine from now.
Wow, we are really getting those slivers.
Yeah. I did mess up the fight a little bit. I didn't actually position myself enough, but the Annihilate will take all 5 hits from the Dragon Pulse immediately. That fight can go so much faster than that, but it's fine.
Now, this is probably a really, really stupid question for Pokemon knowers, but is it possible to punch him while he's flying?
Yes. Not all moves in this game can hit him, but can hit the Altaria, but Annihilate's Rage Fist is big enough to hit. So for Venusaur, we would really like the Venusaur to use Bullet Seed, similar to how Victory Bell used Bullet Seed to essentially get multiple stacks up, which is exactly what we see. Only the 4 is fine. I guess I'll just accept the 3 KO here. And then position ourselves around there in case of a thing, because I know for a fact that Venusaur will like to move in the middle. And then it gets toasted. Just like
I like how Venusaur is just ignoring the other Pokemon. It's just kind of following you around like a pet.
Yeah. Some of the rogues will either target you always or target the Pokemon always. It kind of depends on, but sometimes it's just random. So Dragonite's a case where it's random if it targets you. I know for the fact that Dragonite's first attack, Air Slash, will always target me though. But then afterwards, it'll kind of just change. So here, Yeah, you think that Dragonite is just, quad weak to ice. Yeah, we just added a grass type, which is also weak to ice. So we just made it now about roughly 8 times weak to ice. So these ice hits are going to hurt. Make sure I position my Baxcalibur properly so that it doesn't take any damage from the Dragonite. And then, yeah, just see how much damage, although I did not get enough Mega Meter, which is fine as long as we just hit. Yeah, we did hit. Cool. This skips Dragonite's big attack where it goes around and hyper beams the entire place, so we don't have to see that.
I do love how flashy this run is. We're getting all kinds of particle effects and abilities, and obviously Pokemon's very colorful to begin with, so it's just like very visually... I don't know half of what's going on, but very visually interesting.
So here, we're going to be using a bit of Lucario to do some of the initial damage. So we're going to get a little bit of a Swords Dance, a little bit of a Drain Punch, and then we're going to make sure we deal enough damage to this Tyranitar until it drops some orbs for us, which typically 1 Drain Punch, 1 Close Combat, and one more Drain Punch will get us that, and then we'll use a Screech to decrease its defense for another 30 seconds, and then we're essentially just going to be utilizing the bird to deal all of our damage. And then, unfortunately, Meteor Assault does have like this little downside where you have to wait a little bit, but that's fine because we can't... Anytime a Pokemon is enraged, we can't actually damage it, which is fine. Just another Sliver again. I'm getting a bit unlucky, but that's fine. Just one more quick break and it's dead.
That might be the smallest Sliver we've seen. That was like literally 1 or 2 pixels.
And lastly, it is probably the community's favorite Mega. I don't think there's any distribution of this Mega. Either you love it or you hate it.
I mean, this reminds me of Suicide Squad, so I love it. Not that I love Suicide Squad or anything, but it definitely reminds me of that movie.
So here, we're gonna focus energy and always get hit by this Aqua Jet. If we are lucky, like before, we get to see Water Pulse, which is like a really good move. Unfortunately, we don't, and we actually get bad RNG because we just got Flinch, which means our... Okay, we do have to be... Okay, we're going for a backup plan, I guess. That is not supposed to happen. We are not supposed to have Annihilate either, but that is fine. We can fix this. We can fix this. Actually... that was not supposed to happen. Okay, this is just going great. It's fine. Everything is going fine. We're just going to lose a good amount of time here, but that is fine. But it's fine. Yeah, so unfortunately my Annihilate died, which is not supposed to happen, but it's fine. We're just gonna have to slowly chip this down. This is why we have a 40-minute estimate.
But also, I personally kind of like when these things happen because this is the joy of doing it live in a marathon setting, is sometimes you see just how hard some of these things are and just how, if things aren't, don't go perfectly or you get bad RNG or something, like what it would look like to a normal person and how hard the game actually is at a base level. And so sometimes when things go wrong, like it's actually really kind of enlightening and useful to see.
Alright, we're gonna need to keep this back scout. Okay, oh boy. We're just gonna have to take this slow. Yeah, this is not how this fight is supposed to go at all. Annihilate was supposed to do the damage, but unfortunately, we got a 10-20% chance to flinch, which is my favorite statistic to happen. Alright. Well, thankfully, I know for a fact that this thing will target me and not Baxcalibur, so my Baxcalibur is safe for a little bit. Of course, your defense is rosed. And of course, it's fine. This is fine. You're almost dead. I just need you. just need you to do a little bit more. It's fine if we accidentally die here because I can always just go to actually we should be fine here. Well, unless it does that. Please. You're like so close to dying. Please just die. We already wasted 2 minutes here. Okay, all right, cool.
All right, chat. Let's show some love in chat for that improvisation.
Awful.
Managed to keep it going there.
That was completely awful. That is not supposed to happen. But anyway, we're now to the new DLC, and oh, we're fighting Absol again? Oh, it's pretty lame. Surprise twist, it's Mega Absol Z.
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
We're going full Dragon Ball on this.
Anyway, so hopefully these next few fights, which I actually found, which are actually more dangerous than normal, goes much better than what Starmie happened. So here it is just better for us to use Baxcalibur instead of utilizing Annihilate to essentially deal all our damage. Essentially, hopefully, unfortunately, we did get a bit more unlucky there with not all of my Icicle Shards hitting, but that's Icicle Spears hitting, but that is fine. Just a few more Icicle Spears and it is dead.
Very nice. Take a breath. It's okay. Remember, this is Perilous Paths for a reason. If this was easy, you wouldn't be here. It's hard.
That is true. All right, Bro Mega Staraptor. This one can be annoying if depending on what Staraptor chooses to do. Its beginning, it will always do like this scream into a focus blast, but then it will fly somewhere, and I need to find out where it flew, which is the more annoying part. That is the wrong Pokemon. I love sending out the wrong Pokemon. That's fine. Just send out the Excalibur. Where's the bird? The bird is over there. That's fine. The bird will always target me first, which is fine. I can just make sure that my Excalibur doesn't take too much damage, because I do actually need to keep my Excalibur as healthy as I can, because I have used one of the heals a little bit earlier than I would like to admit, but it's fine. Uh-oh. That's not good. Alright, I guess we're going to be seeing Staraptor's big attack, which I really didn't want to see, but that is fine. So we're just going to dodge a bunch until it stops. And then just set up the focus energy and the sword dance one more time, and then hopefully one more Icicle Spear should just take it down.
Now, assuming I'm a filthy casual, so this may come off as a stupid question, but in most Pokemon games, Pokemon cannot directly attack the trainer. And so we're seeing here a lot of times the Pokemon are coming after you directly, but I don't see a health bar or anything on screen for yourself. So what does it mean when a Pokemon is attacking you versus your Pokemon?
So we do actually have a health bar. Our health bar is actually when you see, that's the wrong Pokemon, when you see the side of our screen become darker, that is essentially our health bar decreasing, and if it's at red, we have exactly 1 HP left. And we cannot, but we do regen health slowly, so that is like the one advantage that we have. That's 2. I need one more hit on this Tatsugiri, and then we can go for a 2-hit KO. Tatsugiri can be a bit of an annoying fight, because it likes to jump around a lot, so we're actually going to wait until it decides to start an attack like so, and then hopefully it doesn't troll me. Thank you for not trolling me. And then we just need to do one more punch. That's fine, and then it'll just stay there, so we know that this next punch is absolutely free, and it is done.
Chat's talking about strawberry jam on the screen. Love regenerating health.
Alright, next up is possibly one of my favorite Megas design-wise. It's Mega Meowstic, because if you know, Meowstic has 2 forms, male and female. Allow us to introduce ourselves to non-binary Meowstic, which is both.
Oh, that is
very cool mega. So very quickly, we need to get ourselves the Trick or Treat off. And then we need to then switch into Annihilate. We need to make sure that we take a specific amount of damage during this fight. I also realized that because Annihilate fainted, my Pokemon isn't max Friendship, which might cause a little bit of a problem, but we'll deal with that in a moment in these next two fights. But hopefully doesn't deal much of a problem. Okay, we did 2 KO this. So you're going to teleport to the middle. And hopefully this Rage Fist is enough to kill. It is not. Okay, so what we need to do with this attack, because this is not how it's supposed to be, but it's fine. We actually will bring you out because we need to deal as much damage to this as we can. And I also don't need my Surf Edge anymore after this point, so even if Surf Edge dies, it's fine. And then we just need to do this, and then give it a little punch, and it's fine.
Now, for those of us counting at home, do you happen to know what number we're on?
I do. 1, 2. This is now Rogue 20.
20. Okay, we're in the 20s. We're almost there.
And we now start the legendary. Well, where we have to fight Rogue Mega Legendaries.
As you do.
Heatran is thankfully not the biggest deal because if we just stand in a specific location and then just spam our moves, he will always go for Flash Cannon, always hit my Annihilate, and we will be completely fine. Like so. We're then going to go for another workup, pick up these orbs, and then get another stack. And then 2 more Rage Fists should absolutely decimate this, if not just 1 more. Nope, definitely need 1 more, which is completely fine. And there goes Rogue Mega Heatran.
I love how you're just standing in between like 2 fire tornadoes shooting meteors at you, and you're like, this is fine. Don't worry about that.
Oh, it's gonna get a bit worse, but it's fine. Speaking of worse, this fight is pretty annoying. Many people might not know this, but there is actually a Rogue Mega Zeraora fight, and it can be rough. So let's hope it's not too rough. So first, we're gonna make sure that it's a Ghost type, same thing as before. And then I would need to keep a track of how many hits I get, as well as how many crits I get, because it's no longer consistent thanks to the mistake that I made on Starmie. But this is going to be fine. If it can go for Electro Web, I really appreciate it, because now my Annihilate is taking, like, every time it's on that thing, it's just taking an extra hit, which is, like, really helpful. Please, can I target the Zeraora? Thank you. And it's dead, and I realize I led the rock Pokemon for the next fight, but that is fine, as an easy switch.
Alright, that's 22, 5 to go.
5 to go, and we now start the 2-phase Rogue Mega fights, where phase 1, we don't fight them as a Mega, and phase 2, we do. So here, it's probably best if it just Swords Dance first then, because of that mess up, but it is fine. Here, we're going to go for a little bit of a Screech. Main goal of Lucario right now, we just need to build up our Mega Meter as fast as we can, just by doing moves. And then I just need to do this, and then 1 more Drain Punch. And then we actually get to, once we actually have our thing more fully charged, we can actually go and use Mega Evolution. This is the only fight we actually use Mega Evolution, because every other fight's slow. But the main cool thing about Mega Evolution in this fight in particular is the fact that because it's a 2-phase fight, we actually keep the Mega for the next phase of the fight. So that's phase 1. And if I do phase 2 correctly, which, you know, judging by my consistency in this, it's not exactly perfect, but if I do this fight, Darkrai will deal absolutely no damage to me. Also, not sure if I have the only opinion, but this looks like a Kirby boss. Anyway, we first go ahead and use a Screech. We'll then go ahead and use a Close Combat, which will then stun the Darkrai. Then I already messed up with that, but it's fine. With that extra Drain Punch, but that's okay. We're going to go then for another Close Combat. Then for a Drain Punch, and then now it's just not going to do... Oh, well, I guess it's just going to do one more move, but that's fine. It's now just going to be stunned. We'll then just deal all the damage to it. And it's just not going to do anything to us.
And I like that we're doing punches here too, so it's full punch fight strats.
All right, now it's time for Groudon. Time for 4 more legendaries that we have to fight, and Groudon is one of them. First, we're going to go for a little bit of a trick or treat, and then we're going to go for Safeguard so that our Annihilate doesn't get burned, which is going to be very important that it doesn't get burned, because burn halves our attack stat, and we don't want that. So we're just going to do this. We're going to just let Annihilate be the meat shield. And Scorching Sand is really good to get because it's a multi-hit move, so we can just get more stacks of our Rage Fist. Alright, I have to be very careful because I am literally 1 hit away from dying. And we're good. And that is phase 1 of Groudon.
Can you, the player, get one shot, or you're always going to be taken down to red, and then it's a second hit after that?
Yeah, you'll always be taken down to red, and then it's 1 hit after.
Got it.
So it's like, if I'm at red, it's like, okay, I need to wait until I heal just a little bit, just so I don't immediately die. Speaking of which, I have to be very quick here, get Annihilate out, and run so I do not take this Fire Blast hit myself. And then we're just going to do the same thing again. Walk up. Unfortunately, the only thing that doesn't sadly carry over is the Rage Fist stack, so I have to rebuild it every single time. So right now I'm at 1. Oh boy. Okay. Right, just don't die. Okay, I need you to hit my Annihilate. With Scorching Sands is perfect. And then now, after this hit, you will get stunned, and I don't have to worry about being hit. Like so. For at least a little bit of time. And then just 2 more Rage Fist, and then it's dead. So, that'll be then Primal Groudon, defeated with mostly no problems.
I'm trying to imagine this from the Pokemon's point of view. That's like, you want me to do what now? Stand in front of the Fire Blast and punch this guy in the face? Like, I'd rather not.
Yeah, so now it's going to, instead of taking a Fire Blast to the face, it's now going to take a Surfs and Ice Beams to the face. I am risking every single time it goes for Ice Beam a 10% chance to freeze, but hopefully we don't get unlucky. Speak of the devil. I love my Annihilate being frozen. Oh my god, all the RNG happening to me all at once. I love 10% chances. It's my favorite.
Yeah, that's the second or third time we've had like a 10 or 20% chance, plus all the slivers. Like, maybe you should buy a lotto ticket today.
Thankfully, it's not going to be much of an issue, as Kyogre's defenses is not the best, so we can just take it down no problem. Thankfully, this is going to be, for me, this is going to be the last time I will need to use the monkey. For the fights, we can then go and use Backscatter instead. So once again, we're going to turn Kyogre into a Ghost type. And then we're going to switch into Annihilate. And then we're just going to see what moves it goes for. It goes for Surf, which is completely fine. Obviously now being Primal, now its Surfs are much, much bigger. So I need to make sure that I avoid the hits. Also, I probably should mention the item that we have on our Annihilate is the Shell Bell. So anytime it gets hit, it gets a percentage of health back, but because we're doing so much more intended damage than the game expects us to, we're just recovering all of our HP back. So it's not like we have to be too worried. Although a fight I am worried about is the next fight. Alright, although I just need one more punch, and then it is down for the count.
Very nice.
Alright, 2 more fights to go.
2 more fights.
Time to fight God and, well, the thing that made its own tier list in Smogon, if anything goes. Right, first things first, we're going to make this thing 8 times weak to ice because we need to do as much damage as we can. Then we're going to go for a little bit of a Screech here, and then we're going to switch to Baxcalibur. We need to make sure that Baxcalibur does not take too much damage because Baxcalibur can die. We are keeping the heal for the final fight, which we will absolutely need to keep. But like, yeah, this fight can be a bit crazy, can be a bit scary. Please. There we go. That's phase 1. And now it's time for phase 2. And someone did mention there is no Delta Stream. That is where you are wrong. Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and Primal and Mega Rayquaza do have their abilities. While they are not stunned, they will have their abilities that they would normally have in the main game. So even though we are making it more weak to ice, it is currently not 8 times weak to ice, but back down to 4 thanks to the completely balanced mechanic of Delta Stream. So we're going to make sure that our defenses have been dropped. I think Rayquaza is going for Meteor Beam, which is completely fine because it means that it is not targeting my Baxcalibur, and if it's not targeting my Baxcalibur, it means my Baxcalibur is not going to die. And then we can go get ourselves a cheeky little Ice Fang here into an Icicle Spear, try to build up these Mega Gauge, and then go for another Ice Fang, which then will then stun the Rayquaza. And then one more Icicle Spear knocks out Rayquaza in full heal. At least the fight I was most scared of goes well. At least there's that.
Very, very nice.
And then use my last heal. We're then going to fight the only non-Mega technically in this Rogue Mega Rush, which is Zygarde.
Who's a cute
Zygarde phase 1 is pretty simple. This is the only fight where we actually want to lead Baxcalibur because we're just going to absolutely decimate this in 4 attack, in 4 moves. I guess 5. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, we're going to lead with the tree. And we're going to make sure it's now, again, similar to Rayquaza, 8 times weak to ice. We're then going to go behind it and get our Excalibur. We're going to make sure we do a plus Icicle Spear so that, again, then the Zygarde gets stunned, which means it doesn't do anything, which allows us a free setup of both of our Swords Dance and Focus Energy. And then we'll then do enough damage to then knock out our 2 Zygardes. And plot twist, there's a phase 3. The only free phase fight in this game.
Oh, wow.
This one we have to be pretty careful on how we maneuver depending on what Zygarde's move choices. It normally likes to go for a move called 1000 Waves, which if I'm not careful will actually make my Pokemon stuck and I won't be able to switch out, which is obviously time loss, but thankfully we don't have to worry about that anymore because we got both the grass typing and the defense drop. Now we just need to set up my Baxcalibur, no problem, and then 1 Icicle Spear plus 1 plus Ice Fang, and then another Icicle Spear should then be enough to knock this out. And also time is coming up now.
GG's.
And that is the Rogue Mega Rush. Done in an IGT time of 25 minutes, 28 seconds, 0.38.
Awesome. Well, I know the RNG was not, super fun, but I think that you pivoted and improvised extremely well, and thank you so much for showcasing that off. Like I said before, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be on this show, so I do appreciate you. Now's a great time if you want to tell all the wonderful people out there where they can learn more about you, if you have a Discord, a stream, shout outs, anything and everything, time is yours. Yeah, so I'm on pretty much every social media platform that you can find. Just, type Crisosaurus. There's a 90% chance that it's me.
Typically, I do streams of Pokemon, although I will admit it is in a more European-friendly time zone. So if you're watching from, if you are watching from America, if you don't mind watching streams early in the morning, then you have at least your early morning entertainment covered for you. Where I do mainly more modern Pokemon stuff. Like ZA and stuff, although I have been extremely tempted to move to the 3DS era, so maybe there might be some of that coming over. And if you enjoyed this, I will say that normally this run is normally a lot better, but Stormy happens, so we're just gonna have to accept it. And that's about it.
I think that run was pretty damn good.
With my bed behind me because it's currently midnight 45, so we'll pack this up.
Yeah, no, I especially appreciate any time international runners are able to join us. The time zones are always a little difficult, so thank you so much for staying up with us and hanging out with us. We will let you get to bed and get some well-earned rest because that run was incredible. We will take a short break to get set up for Pokemon Puzzle. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. Pikachu's back as well. So as always, we are in the middle of a showcase of challenging and adventurous speedruns. But before we get into our next one, speaking of challenging and adventurous, I want to let everybody know that GDQ Hotfix is hosting a special Games Done blindfolded showcase on February 21st and 22nd, and submissions are actually open right now. So if you're interested in taking part in that, you can type !GDB in chat for more details. Now, as a quick aside, I was part of the Mario 64 relay at AGDQ. We had some blindfolded runners there, and I got to see how they practiced and get used to things, and it's just incredible to watch blindfolded runs, done straight up live. It's really interesting, so definitely check that out. And while we're talking about submissions, you can also, if you want to do a normal submission, doesn't have to be blindfolded, but if you can do it blindfolded, I will appreciate it. But if you want to appear on GDQ Hotfix, we are always accepting submissions for new runs, and we're accepting submissions right now for the winter season. So if you got a run you want to showcase on the channel, whether that is for Perilous Paths or a different GDQ Hotfix show, we have a lot of different shows with a lot of different themes. You can go over to gdq.gg/submit/hotfix or type !submit in chat for more details. Now, we are going to move into something that has a lot of P's in it. So we're going to do Pokemon Puzzle on Perilous Paths featuring Pikachu. But this is going to be one-player stadium, super hard, being done by Wizard Person. Wizard Person, how are you doing today?
We're just dealing with some 25 degree below zero weather here in Winnipeg, living up to the city's namesake of Winterpeg. But other than that, I'm cozy in my apartment. I'm ready to show off some high octane panel action.
Did you say 25 below zero?
Yeah, it's about 25 below Fahrenheit up here. So you don't want to be outside for more than 10 minutes at a time if you absolutely have to.
Well, at least it's not. Oh no, you have snow on Saturday. Okay. That's wild. But we don't have to talk about the weather. That's okay. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves, the run, what we can expect to see, what makes it super hard. I'm really excited. This is officially the first puzzle game that we have ever had on the show. So we're branching into new genres and new territory here.
It was quite the pleasant surprise to hear back almost instantly. Hello everyone, I am Wizard Person. I'm going to be running Pokemon Puzzle League on the super hard category, and we're going to show you just why this category is so challenging. It's not going to feel that way to me, but to many of you, and especially the versions of you that were in grade school and this game came out in 2000 and you were stuck on Lorelei for 22 minutes and couldn't get past it. We are going to get vengeance on behalf of your younger selves as we absolutely smash through this difficulty. And joining me to help explain the mechanics of this game and what makes it so challenging is Cards of the Heart.
Sup, dudes? This is Cards of the Heart. I've been speedrunning this game since 2013, and you may, keyword may, have seen me speedrun this very category at Summer Games Done Quick 2015. And, well, there's a reason that I am kind of considered the unofficial grandpa of the Puzzle League speedrunning community. Can you confirm or deny that, wizard person?
Yeah, you and Smart are the grandparents of this community. Lots of institutional knowledge that you're carrying around.
Indeed. So we do expect this run to take somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, but there is a reason that this estimate is 40 minutes, and hopefully you won't see too much of that as we head into this run. Wiz, unless you have anything else to say before we get started, why don't you go ahead and count us in?
Yeah, I'm just gonna dial in at the beginning of the run, let Cards explain things, and then I'll chip in with some of my own banter along the way. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, panels.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you.
Good luck. You certainly need some good luck in order to get through this run. But yes, this is Pokemon Puzzle League for the Nintendo 64, as Wizard Person will be playing it on today, but it's also available on the Wii Virtual Console and the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, and all of those versions are valid for submission on our speedrun leaderboards, which get fairly active, especially nowadays for reasons we'll get into a little bit. But what you're seeing right now is a bit of a different type of game than what you might be used to seeing before. This is a puzzle game. This is a match 3 puzzle game. So you can line up 3 panels of the same color and design horizontally or vertically in order to make them disappear. But as far as the speed run goes, we're not going to get very far matching just 3. And even with doing more than just matching 3, we're running into some problems already, as we're seeing here. Hopefully these 16 opponents that we're about to see throughout this run won't have too much of that. So for this speed run, we'll be focusing on making combos and chains. Combos are what you get by matching more than 3 of the same panel at the same time. They can be in a row. They can be in a row. They can be intersecting horizontally and vertically at the same time. They could be all different panels. There are lots of different ways to make combos, and sometimes you will have to get creative with making combos in order to get through this run. Primarily, though, we're going to be trying to make chains, and you're going to see the chaining done by Wizard Person here. He's making a match and then letting the panels above it fall into another ready-made match. A lot of it is being made on the fly.
See if that works, possibly.
There's lots of guessing and checking going to this.
I knew he was going to level out the stack,
no.
Unfortunately.
So here's what we're primarily trying to do in this run. This strategy is going to be more or less consistent throughout the 16 stages we see here. Very fortunate there for Gary the First, as we sometimes call him, to run out of time. We'll smell him again later. But we're going to be trying to attack these opponents with our combos and chains in a very particular order. The combos, the 4 in a row matches you're seeing Wizard Person make here are sending small, thin garbage blocks to these opponents, and the chains are sending big, thick garbage blocks that these opponents, garbage blocks you cannot interact with at all.
Hello?
The way
Rock?
you...
Okay.
The way you... Whew, that was close.
Yeah, just talk over me. I rant at this game a lot. you know the drill, Curtis.
Yes. For reasons we'll get into later, we've known this for quite some time. But the way we're going to try to attack all these opponents is we're going to be trying to make 4 in a row combos at the very start our chains. And in this game, if you lead your chain with a combo, then the garbage that you make from that combo will actually land on your opponents before the thick garbage from the chain would land. So we're trying to attack with combos in a very particular fashion, and also in general we're trying to like chain until the opponent finishes chaining, and doing it in expert fashion there will result in what we call in the community a combo trap, or at least that's a more recent name I've been giving to it. These opponents, when they have combo garbage on directly on top of their panels, they have a habit of only looking underneath the lowest garbage block on their field. So if they have a bunch of panels, but the garbage is sitting in the one particular spot, one side or another on their field, then they're going to only be able to see the panels underneath that lowest block, and a lot of times these foes won't be able to see some things that a human player would necessarily be able to see. So we're kind of like manipulating these opponents into thinking that they actually have no moves when in fact they normally would.
Now, as someone who has like no frame of reference for this game, it looks like we're selecting Pokemon at the beginning of a battle, and I see the obviously electric symbols here. How do the Pokemon play into this? Any role types or weaknesses or anything else that we're trying to do?
It's purely cosmetic.
This game used to be this game was part of a bigger series of games that started in Japan with Panel Depon on the original Super Famicom back in 1995, and it was ported to North America in the next year as Tetris Attack. So some of you may have seen that in previous games done quick iterations. This game in particular used to be a prototype of a spiritual successor. Ooh.
It's fun.
Oh,
hold on. What was? I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah. Sometimes the stack of panels will do some weird things when you get garbage dropping on top of them. So these opponents are quite fast. They will only get faster as the run goes along. So we're trying to be particular about when we send these garbage attacks onto these foes. So Wizard Person will be trying to control the size of his chain almost purely from a timing perspective. It's not really as much the size of the chain that you make. It's when you send it that tends to be a bigger factor in when these opponents win or lose. Fortunately there, the timing of that attack was pretty good. So Erica finally bit the dust there, but the timing is not always going to be obvious. It's even after years and years and years of playing and speedrunning this game like the two of us have, we don't get the timing perfect every time. And when that happens, the speed of these foes allows them to play for quite a long time. It is not uncommon to have a single stage play out more than 5 minutes at a time. And considering we're trying to adhere to a somewhat strict estimate here, all things considered, we don't really have time to let these stages play out a long time. So what you're seeing quite a bit here is Wizard Person going back to the game level select immediately after some time has passed, and just going right back into the level. We call that a stage reset, and sometimes we'll judge these runs based on how many stage resets they get. Oh, and there's a thing we hope with the somewhat reckless abandon with which these opponents will match panels, that their stack will not be so nice and level to keep the combo garbage blocks that we make from touching each other. Because if they're touching each other, then they're touching the big garbage that we're trying to keep them from clearing, and it just wastes a whole bunch of time whenever that happens. By the way, you clear off garbage blocks that get sent to you by just making any sort of match that touches that garbage block, and then that garbage block and every other garbage block touching it will have the bottom line of that block transformed into regular panels. So you could use garbage to counterattack, and that could get very interesting when you get into higher levels of play. There's actually a pretty active PvP community related more to the original version of this game, the original predecessor to this game in Tetris Attack. It's called Panel Attack. It's developed more or less.
Why is that there?
More or less in the same fashion as Tetris Attack, and you could actually play against other people online, which is certainly makes for some interesting back and forth. Oh, that's a very nice way for Sabrina here to go down. That's not something that happens that often.
Now, of course, we're here because obviously we're playing on super hard. We're here for the difficulty and the challenge of it. So maybe could we talk a little bit about like what does super hard, that setting, do compared to other difficulties? Are the blocks moving faster? Is the AI better? What is it kind of doing to us?
There are a couple things that the level choice does. There are actually 5 levels to the one-player stadium mode that we're playing on, and depending on your overall skill level at this game, you may have only ever seen 3 of them, that being easy, normal, and hard. And the difference between those levels is basically the game engine that this mode plays at. If you are familiar with this game, if you are familiar with the versus mode, just playing against other humans in this game, you may be familiar with the versus levels, and the versus levels affect various things about how the game operates, like how long panels take to fall after popping, and how long like once you get to the top of the screen, once your gradually rising panels reach the top of the screen, you have a little bit of a grace period to try and make some other things happen before the game tries to force your panels through the top of the screen and make you lose. If you're playing on the it does take it's just get infuriating to play against at times. If you're familiar with the versus levels, the easy level of this mode plays at a versus level of 1. The normal mode plays at a level of 2, and the hardest levels, the very hard, the next secret level before this, and this super hard level play at a level 4, which is kind of easy mode for these opponents to try and recover from. That's a very, very interesting one. Blaine somehow ran out of time trying to figure out how to solve that. But those kinds of timing out wins are going to be much fewer and farther between now that we are into the second half of this run. Tracy Sketchit here tends to be a bit of a difficulty spike for us, and no, we honestly can't figure out exactly why that is. Like, these opponents will get faster and faster as they go, but we're not exactly certain of the thresholds that these opponents are playing with. And this is hard enough to play when you're executing properly, but again, if you mess up or have some bad luck timing these attacks, these opponents can last for like 5+ minutes if you let them. We're trying to be very particular about the timing with which we send these attacks, and we're trying to do some fancy little things like lag chains, trying to build up our chains in a faster manner than the normal 1, 2, 3 pop a rhythm that this game normally clears panels in.
That never happens on Tracy, where Tracy just runs out of time.
Very uncommon in the second half. It's not going to happen very well. I will point out with how Wizard Person is approaching these panels. Couple of things. If there's any sort of advice I can give to anyone picking this up for the first time, it's always start with a combo. Always try and match more than 3 at a time, and you can make some good things happen just by making those combos. And, of course, when the opponent is cooperating. That is.
But Rocket's gonna dumb stack themselves. They're gonna clear out some blocks in an inefficient way as they down stack, not clearing the garbage in the process, and run themselves out of moves for the crush kill, or we also call it a conch kill after galloping conch in the community. They're a big fan of those crush kills, so went ahead and named them after him.
Indeed. Hopefully we'll get to see a few more of those. These foes have no sense of self-control. So if they can potentially make matches to where they completely exhaust themselves of panels, they will do so. And if you could keep up your comboing and chaining until they do just that, then you can certainly have yourself a good time with these opponents. But that kind of ability takes, like, again, years upon years of training to build, and even then we don't always get it right.
Yeah.
But so far we're doing pretty good here.
I see
think,
a couple people in chat are asking about lag chains. If you want to give a more in-depth explanation of those.
Right. As I was trying to explain, there you're seeing a particular rhythm to which these panels are getting transformed. You match them, and then they disappear one at a time. You're seeing the normal rhythm that Wizard Person was making these chains to start the stage. Lag chains are simply setting things up in a way to go faster than that intended rhythm, and when these opponents get fast enough to the point where they can potentially empty their entire stack of panels in like 20 seconds, you kind of have to have some sort of ability to keep up with the rate at which they are popping things. So we will sometimes try to make chains in a way that they will land at different points and actually increment the internal chain counter in different ways. Fortunately, we're not having to do anything too fancy here so far. This is actually going kind of crazy so far.
There's not a ton of time left, so really quick, I just want to say, like, when we get to Gary, that'll be our final opportunity to, like, actually pick our own Pokemon. So if people want to, like, spam in the chat either Pikachu, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle, I will just pick the last Pokemon that I see in chat for the final stage where we have that option, because this is going really fast and Cards is just doing such a good job with the commentary.
Yes. Very fortunate that these opponents are cooperating so far, but
sure.
you always have to Yeah, Bruno. Yeah, that makes sense. that definitely makes sense. Wow, yeah, we don't normally get opponents that are this cooperative. They're usually able to get to whatever match they can make, but the panels are randomly generated. By the way, these panels have to be generated one at a time, and there's a long. There's last I remember, there's like a long internal sequence that the game will reference to try and pick what the next panel should be. It can generate a unique string of like maybe 500,000 panels. So we can't count on the same panels being used for every single stage. So whatever is happening here in this run, right as we head into the final stage. We're already at the final opponent, and it is Mewtwo, and he's going to win, or maybe we're gonna win. I don't know. I don't know, Chad. Are you team I'm gonna win or team I'm going
to win?
That's a kill. That is unfortunate. So now we're getting into a bit of a predicament, because the previous stages, if they went wrong, you could just pause, quit the game, go back to the level select, and continue to retry the stage. But we don't have that luxury here. If you save and quit, on this level, the game will actually punish you as its normal punishment for losing by taking you back to the previous stage. So we would have to play Gary the Second all over again if we were to quit this stage and try again. And it's usually not a good idea to do that, but you are looking at the one person who would consider it, and fortunately we don't have to worry about it. And time.
GG's. That was quick.
That was actually amazing. Like Wiz, how are you feeling during that? Because it seemed like you were executing really well.
I was just zoned in. The game was giving us plenty of presence in the form of just good block RNG, and in the sense that they were just running themselves out of panels when they normally find clears and just waste more of your time. But I was dialed in. I don't know if Cards mentioned specifically, but like the most challenging aspect of this run is like not just doing the 15 chain or whatever, because there are lots of good players that can do that, but I'm also looking over at the opponent's screen while I am chaining. So just looking over for a split second and then getting back to my chain and seeing what the best time to drop that chain is. So like I was dialed in with my focus, and good execution and good luck is what it takes to get a really good time in this run.
For sure, that screen watching, looking at your opponent, might be the most difficult part of learning the higher levels of the speedrun. Now, before we go too much further about this, allow me to blow your minds, chat, about how fast this category is. This was a really good run that Wizard Person just put up right now. Like in the low 20-minute range is not something we see too often in this category.
Like insane for a marathon, frankly.
Yeah, the world record for this category, by the way, is 12 minutes 47 seconds.
Stupid.
And Wizard Person's personal best of this category is 15 minutes 7 seconds. So, as good as this was, it wasn't close to a personal best. It was not close to a world record. That's just how random this category is. When these opponents do not behave, they will not behave for a long time. We fully expect these runs to take 20 to 30 minutes, but again, if you get the wrong RNG and you're not on your game that day, runs can definitely go towards 40 minutes. So that is why we basically have to have a 40-minute estimate for this category every time we present it in front of a marathon audience. So yeah, Wizard Person, well done.
Well, thankfully, we've seen it all today. We had terrible RNG in the first run, and now we're having fantastic RNG. So we're getting it all today. But if you want to take a moment to give them any final shout outs, let everyone know where they can find you if you stream, anything like that, now's a great time.
Yeah, I go on and off with this game just because it's very grindy, it's very RNG heavy, and I kind of burn myself out on it and then I come back. But I have been getting back into it more recently, so if you want to follow me at twitch.tv/wizardperson_, and you want to see a much saltier, rage-fueled version of me as I react to the bad luck I get in this game, feel free to come hang out. I'm very friendly, despite my ire towards this game at times. Thanks to Cards for hopping in and doing some incredible commentary on this game, just breaking things down for the chat and just sharing his analytical expertise, because he has spent literally over a decade on this game.
Maybe too long. Maybe too long. Depending on then who you ask. But yeah, I'm also regularly speedrunning this game and this series of games over on my personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Cards of the Heart. I also stream on YouTube and Rumble and Kick if you're into those sorts of flavors of live streams. And before we go, I definitely want to make sure everyone is aware where we are hosting monthly speedrun tournaments for this game. I've been making sure over the last several years to host annual tournaments for not only this game, Pokemon Puzzle League, but also Tetris Attack. If you are a fan of this series but need to take things at a slower speed, we do play Tetris Attack as well as Pokemon Puzzle League, and we've been also running monthly tournaments for the past couple of years to feed into those big tournaments that we have at the end of every season. In fact, right at this moment is a very good time to jump into our Pokemon Puzzle League tournaments, because our very next monthly tournament coming up, we've named them after the individual stages within Pokemon Puzzle League. So it's the Lieutenant Surge Open that is coming up next on our schedule. It's set for the weekend of February 7th, and if you are watching live right now, you can actually come to our Discord server at the League of Puzzle Speedrunners. Just Google League of Puzzle Speedrunners, and you should be able to find us and our YouTube channel, where we post the archives of our speedrun tournaments. And you come to our Discord server and qualify for that tournament right now. If you have a Twitch stream, you have a way to play this game. You are more than welcome to join us and see what you can do. Fortunately, you don't have to play super hard, because the super hard category is reserved nowadays for the very finals of our end of year tournaments. So you won't have to deal with the randomness that this level brings right away, and hopefully that will make things a bit more newbie friendly to those just getting used to this game and this speedrun for the first time. But
if again, you can do a 5-chain, yes, you can run this game. Even a couple 4-chains. So, and we're very supportive,
yes,
and we love having new community members. You'll get to hang out with top runners like me and Cards and FFR Pro and Saw 6 in the chat and Tetris Attacker. So.
And also, the League of Puzzle Speedrunners gives me very much Scott Pilgrim, League of Astorian Gentlemen. It's a very ominous cool sounding name. I love it. Thank you both so much for showcasing this. This was incredible. And like I said, the first time we've had a puzzle game on the show, and not going to be the last because that run was incredible. We are going to take a quick little break as we get set up for our last run of Perilous Paths, not of the evening because we still have the scenic route coming up, but we're going to be doing Thursday. Now, before we get into our last run of the show and maybe the second to last time you'll see this Pikachu, I do want to let you know that we are currently looking at Back to Black 2026, which is February 5th to 8th as a 4-day speedrun marathon featuring Black speedrunners and benefiting Race Forward. So you can use !schedule in Twitch chat to check out the event, or visit gdq.gg/BAF to learn more. And of course, Black in a Flash is a community that uplifts and connects Black speedrunners of all levels, hosting special events throughout the year, like Back to Black 2026, to raise money for charities and celebrate Black voices in the speedrunning scene. So likewise, use !BAF in Twitch chat to learn more. Now we have one more run for you today in the world of Pokemon. That is the Pokemon trading card game on hard mode, featuring the legendary Super Mario 64 relay runner Tornite and their commentator Pinecone. How are the two of you doing today? Wave, Pika. Wave.
We are doing excellent. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. As eloquently mentioned, I am, the greatest red coin at TikTok clock star getter of all time. No, don't fact check me. Don't fact check me, crowd. But yes, hello, welcome. I'm Tornite. This is a very special way to play Pokemon TCG. You may remember me from the 20 million different playthroughs of this game, Pokemon TCG on Hotfix in the past. However, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is hard mode. Hard mode is, to kind of very simplify the premise of it, imagine doing a card game speedrun with 0 cards starting out, as opposed to the 80-ish, 90 total card that you're typically starting out with. So you may be wondering to yourself, wait, hold on, this is like a really cool mod. No, it actually is not. As you can see, this is done on the officially on the Nintendo Switch Online version of Pokemon TCG, and it's actually possible to do so on most official copies and ports of the game. The way we do this is by doing a save corruption glitch that is a little bit too inside baseball for even my way of explaining it, but for stuff that is, for a lot of the stuff on the technical side of things and a lot of the things that we're going to be showing off throughout the entire game, I have with me the wonderful Pinecone with me on commentary.
Hey, good evening. Yes, really excited to be able to show off hard mode on Hotfix. This started as a pretty humble category extension many years back when someone was messing around with glitches, and it's kind of blossomed into its own deep variant of trading card game speedrunning. So thank you, Tora, for bringing me along, and we'll explain how this works as we go, I suppose.
Right. So let me make sure that I am on the proper, I'm make sure I am in the proper save state. This is important for a very specific reason that may or may not play a role in about a minute or so. So I'm going to count this down. However, the actual setup to actually being able to do a run in the first place will start actually before I even start counting down. At the start of the game, we get a free booster pack, and luckily that booster pack has a lot of great cards, but we are looking for one specific card, Hitmonchan. That is going to be our ace for pretty much most of the first half of the run, and it requires a RNG manipulation that starts from the very beginning of soft resetting the game, which I just did. And I have about 17.06 seconds from that soft reset. So I'm going to count us down from 3, 2, 1, go. And hopefully we'll get it going and see if...
Yeah, this mailbox, this email is the only cards that Tornite has access to in the run at this point, because we start with 0 cards. That's what makes it hard mode. And so what Tornite's doing is using a timer at the beginning of the RNG to open that mail pack within a 5-frame window to get a very strong basic Pokemon to build a deck around Hitmonchan. This manipulation is what makes a marathon consistent hard mode run even possible. Discovered a couple years back by yours truly here. And Torna Knight's really taken it to another level. So far, first 2 tries haven't quite worked out. We're looking at a couple of early frames for both of those. It is obviously a very difficult thing to time. That also looks a little bit on a couple frames early, maybe 5-6 frames early.
Now, I am actually timing this on from my iPhone timer, so I'm basically eyeballing this. If I'm not able to get this in the first couple of tries, that is okay. I have another save state that has this already done. So hopefully,
yes, we do have a backup safety for this, but you're getting closer, or slightly farther away. It's like 6 frames early.
Okay, I'll give this 2 more goes. If not, then that is okay. We can just start the run with going to another save state that just pretty much has just a Hitmonchan, and we can go on our merry way.
But it's always worth a shot. It's a very cool thing to show off.
Scoop up. That is.
Oh, you are 4 or 5 frames late.
Okay, yeah. It is extremely, extremely difficult. One thing we also are not, people might not consider or taking into account is the fact that the Switch also has input delay. So it's not just eyeballing things, but also having to do mental math in my head as far as being able to do it. That's unfortunate. That's fine. We can just start here.
Below the save state, yeah. Yeah, there's about 5 or 6 frames of input lag on Switch Virtual Console, and the manipulation window is 5 frames, which makes it even harder to hit. Luckily, we have this safety backup save, so we'll just use our imagination and be like, "Yep, that definitely happened." So what Toro's doing now is the other source of cards without a deck is this guy on the right that Torna Knight just talked to, who gives you free energy if you have under 10 energy cards remaining in your inventory. So what Toro did there is talk to the guy to get free energy, then built a deck of entirely energy to talk to him again in order to get free energy, 20 free energy of every type. And every card matters when you're playing a hard mode speedrun, so being able to get those extra energy really helps. And now we're going into the earliest fights of the game. Torna Knight is going to assemble the deck, and then, or it is assembled already, and then going to be battling some of the early game fights. Torna Knight's route focuses on the early game fights that give you certain kinds of booster packs. There are 4 kinds of booster packs in this game, and Coliseum is the booster pack that has about 80%, 90% of the good cards that we use in the speedrun in it. And so Torna Knight is doing these early, quick battles that are required to beat the game and give you Coliseum booster packs in order to improve his deck as fast as he can. So far, he's had okay luck on this battle. It looks like, ooh, that Primeape wasn't great news.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to happen.
Yeah, often the fastest thing to do in a trading card game speedrun is to reset out of danger, because the way card game duels work is the battle either ends when you kill or KO a fixed number of Pokemon, or if your opponent has no Pokemon remaining after you KO one, it'll just end. And so it's often worth resetting until your opponent starts with only 1 Pokemon or only 2 Pokemon. Like, this is a one-on-one battle here, so this is favorable odds. So Torna Knight's going to go for this one, and hopefully Jessica won't put anything on the bench. There's one thing on the bench, but it's also manageable. So we'll see how it goes here.
The one thing Chad has pointed out, because of the menuing and the screen background, this is not quite a flashing lights warning, but I am assuming most of the run will be quick menuing and things like this. So if anyone is sensitive to this type of input or visual stimulus, feel free to do whatever it is you need to do. But I'm imagining the rest of the run will be very, very quick, just like this.
Yep. Yeah, the menuing in a trading card game is extremely fast, and it can be, for some people that are sensitive to such things, it's a bit, it can be a bit much. Unfortunately,
yeah, we've been getting...
Torna Knight has not had the best luck against Jessica here.
Yeah, we've been getting rickrolled left and right. Hopefully now this means... Oh, perfect.
Ooh, luckily yeah, this is a turn 1 win. The opponent has no time to even play other Pokemon, which is ideal. Hopefully we get that more often in the run. But that's a great start, other than...
Now, with such quick menuing and so much going on, for anyone that hasn't, had experience either in real life or through the game of playing the trading card game, what are we kind of looking at here? How do the mechanics of the game work? What are we trying to accomplish? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So the trading card game, we're basically mimicking the structure of a mainline Pokemon game, and that there are 8 gyms and you do battles against trainers, except instead you're playing the actual mechanics of the physical card game, where you have a deck of 60 cards that has energy cards to power up your Pokemon, basic Pokemon and evolution cards that you play to be the Pokemon, and then what are called trainer cards, which are little assisting items that help you, similar to potions and Pokeballs in a game, similar to items. And so we're doing kind of these facsimile of real Pokemon battles by playing with cards, where, you play cards into play to summon Pokemon, and you draw them from your deck and all of that. So all of this really quick menuing is playing these real life Pokemon trading card game battles by more or less the official rules, against computer controlled opponents. And so we're trying to basically complete as many card games as quickly as we can, as fast as we can.
The one thing for sure that you did say more or less, and that is true. Depending on how certain battles go, we may potentially be using strats that in the real world TCG they have since made actually illegal, just because of all the shenanigans that can be done with some of the things we may end up doing. So hopefully, how much time? Okay, tackle. That is fine.
Yeah, you're all right. So there is one major rule difference that we exploit each and every battle. So in the current rules and for most of the history of the trading card game in real life, if you draw your starting hand of 7 cards and you don't have a basic Pokemon, you take a mulligan and you draw a new hand, and your opponent is allowed the option to draw extra cards, which is a huge advantage. In this video game, that you are allowed to draw a new hand if you don't start with a basic Pokemon in your hand, but your opponent gets no benefit. That rule is huge for us because it means we can build decks that only have 1 Pokemon in them in order to guarantee that we're always going to play with that same 1 Pokemon. And that's pretty much the rule change that makes hard mode possible. This deck right now only has Hitmonchan as its only Pokemon, and that's how we're able to start with Hitmonchan every single time. A very powerful basic Pokemon with high HP and a high damage attack that exploits a common weakness, allowing us to take advantage of these early game fights.
And we're a little bit late here, but can we give some love to Fat Pikachu? I miss Fat Pikachu. I know Fat Pikachu's coming back for, I think it's the 35 year anniversary or whatever. So Pokemon's doing some Fat Pikachu stuff, but let's give some love to the Fat Pikachu.
Yeah, no, and depending on how this run is gonna end up going, we might actually get to see Fat Pikachu in our deck for a brief second.
That is true. One of the options for the route, a lot of the hard mode route will depend on what Pokemon Tauronite acquires through these booster packs, and Fat Pikachu is a beloved option for the Water Gym coming up. We'll also see a few trainers have Fat Pikachu, hopefully, coming up. I guess we're now I guess we've now encountered most of them. But the other beloved Pikachu, I guess Flying Pikachu is a form of Fat Pikachu as well, who makes a couple of appearances in the run. We've already had one trainer that could have had Flying Pikachu, and then we'll see Flying Pikachu, hopefully we won't see Flying Pikachu because it's a big drawback for the speedrun, but we may see Flying Pikachu later at the Science Gym.
Yeah, and the one thing that makes hard mode, is the fact that even easy fights, because of the fact that we have nothing but 1 Hitmonchan and no trainer cards to, support us throughout the entirety of the run. Electabuzz.
Electabuzz is there.
That is...
Unfortunately, that means that our deck won't have Fat Pikachu in it later.
Yeah.
Because Electabuzz is another powerful 70 HP basic Pokemon similar to Hitmonchan, but electric type.
Yeah, and
or lightning in this game.
Yeah, and the hope, and honestly, I actually would not have minded Fat Pikachu because earlier I drew into a Ooh, do I want to? You know what? Let's play this out. Let's play this one out.
You're going first. You got a chance, yeah.
I also got as a booster pack reward the one specific Raichu. There are 2 Raichus in this game. One of them is the one that we want, and it's one that can do as much as 60 damage with thunder, and also have the potential to be immune to all damage and status effects with agility. Which, by the way, that's one of my favorite tropes of Pokemon TCG. It's just moves that aren't that good in the regular RPG just get like massively buffed for the purposes of the trading card.
Yeah, that is true. You'll see names of attacks that mean nothing to like competitive Pokemon battling or mainline Pokemon speedrunning that are our lifeblood here. And you'll also see attack names that are simply made up and have no analog in the video game as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you notice, Hitmonchan, his attack that only does 20 damage with 1 energy, it's just called Jab. It's like the most simple punch in all of boxing. That's been our main damage dealer for most of this run so far.
Yeah, Hitmonchan's Jab, back when the base fossil original Pokemon card game, metagame in real life, Hitmonchan's Jab was one of the most powerful attacks just because of how much damage it can do with only 1 energy on turn 1, which is exactly the kind of thing we're looking for in a speed run where we want to win as fast as possible. So a very unassuming attack name has a lot of consequences in here.
Well, if anyone was watching the Pokemon Legends ZA run earlier, we did a whole lot of boxing there too. So that definitely, between the Pikachu and the punches, which, you know, another P word, we definitely have our theme for the night.
By the way, shoutouts to all the runners from today's episode. I was watching those runs very, very carefully, and they were a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Oh, this is actually really fun. So this Porygon has made... Oh, wait, no, it's conversion 2. Is it going to do the... Oh, no, wait.
Conversion 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It did a very bizarre thing that you can only see in this one particular instance. So Porygon normally is weak to fighting. Conversion 2 naturally changes Porygon's resistance. However, it has decided it is going to make itself also resistant to fighting. So it became both resistant and weak to fighting at the same time. And you may be wondering yourself, wait, how does that work? Well, the programmers actually thought of something about it. And what they did is there's a little bit of a formula in play when this happens. What it does base damage times 2 for weakness minus 30 for resistances. So 40 times 2 minus 30 is 50. And who said you can't learn anything in speedrunning?
Yeah, you do need to do some mental math. Yeah, weakness and resistance will be pretty important throughout the run. For those not familiar with the card game, it's similar, but not exactly the same as the video game. Pokemon have up to 1 weakness and up to 1 resistance. If a Pokemon has weakness to like a defending Pokemon has weakness to your attacker's type, then it will take double damage from all your attacks. Fighting is the most common weakness in the trading card game, which is part of why Hitmonchan is so powerful. Resistance is a flat minus 30 damage, no matter how much damage you are doing. Resistance, ironically, fighting is also the most common resistance in the Pokemon trading card game. And so I guess Psychic is up there too. But these will both of these mechanics have like huge effects on the deck construction choices that we make throughout this speedrun. We'll be trying to exploit weakness anywhere we can.
That Squirtle artwork is fantastic, by the way. Just like fully arms, legs out. I'm here.
Yeah, shout out
he's out there vibing, absolutely.
Shout out to the sprite work in this game. It is just the art, the sprite work, the music is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, taking the excellent art from the real world card game and translating it into beautiful pixel art on the monochrome, or not monochrome, but the color Game Boy screen is quite impressive. All right, so up next is a particularly challenging early game fight, Amanda. Unlike the other fights, Amanda only requires you to KO 3 Pokemon, which is the only good thing about this fight. The bad news is that Amanda is one of the few trainers in the game that has many Pokemon that cover each other's weaknesses with resistances. Amanda has a lot of Scyther, which is a free retreat Pokemon that resists fighting. And that fighting resistance is bad news for us. but also has some strong water types that resist fire, which is Scyther's weakness. And then finally, Amanda has a bunch of cards that add more basics or faux basic Pokemon to the bench, making this battle often drag out for a long time. So what we do is we splash in a Charmander to take care of Scyther. And in this case, we didn't encounter anything else. So we got very lucky. That was actually a super fast Amanda, but normally a very scary fight. But, you know, luck's on our side of that one.
Yeah, the outside from the little bit of early game shenanigans, as is with a lot of Pokemon TCG runs. We've actually kind of now settled in, and this run's actually off to a pretty solid start. We didn't make mention of this, but a couple of fights ago, I breathed a massive sigh of relief because we got our win condition for the end game. We did get a Dugtrio, which is going to be our ace for the entirety of the not the entirety, but almost the entirety of the end game.
Yes. Yeah. So in a conventional speedrun of trading card game, we can count on the cards that are included in the starter deck when designing our route. We can be like, well, we're going to start with at least one Dugtrio, so we can use Dugtrio at the end of the game. But here we don't have that luxury, so we really need to be paying close attention to what Pokemon we get from these booster packs from battling these early trainers. In order to, and if we don't get what we need to improvise. Fortunately, Toro's been getting a wide variety of useful Pokemon. Scyther here, for example, is what he's using against Jean, which is pretty much, oh wow, you blink and you miss it. That was a super fast fight. I didn't have any time to explain gym leader mechanics, so I'll have to do that for the next one.
We got 7 more chances to do that.
That is true, yeah. But, so the early fights we were doing were to collect cards and to unlock all of the gym leader fights, which we need to beat the 8 gym leaders, or they're called club masters, but we know they're gym leaders. And then once we beat them, we fight the equivalent of the Elite Four in this game, which are called Grandmasters. Unlike these early game fights, which are, only have up to 4 Pokemon KO'd needed to win, the gym leaders require up to 6. And the gym leaders actually cheat. They will rig their shuffled decks to guarantee they start with 2 basic Pokemon, and they guarantee that they'll have 2 more basic Pokemon in the top 5 cards of their deck as well. So gym leader battles are significantly harder just on that. In addition, the decks tend to be better constructed, and so that's where the real fast decision making and skill comes in, especially since Tauronite is going in with somewhat unknown decks that have varying quantities of cards, and we'll need to maybe improvise how to handle certain situations.
Yeah.
So right now, Tauronite is fighting a one more stray battle, Joseph, who unlocks another gym leader, and then going to go to the water gym with Electabuzz. 70 HP basic Pokemon as well, lets you take early game attacks, and then can do up to 40 damage with only 2 energy, which with all the lightning weak Pokemon in the next segment is huge.
Now we're seeing a lot of coin flips, which, are obvious RNG points. How much does it matter what coin we get? Because I'm seeing plus 10 damage or something to your... The menu's going so fast, but can you explain the coin flips and how important it is to the run?
Sure. Yeah, for this Pokemon Electabuzz, heads, for the 2 energy attack, heads will boost the base 30 damage up to 40. Tails will keep it at 30, but do 10 damage back to Electabuzz. You can see damage represented with the black dots. And so you have to be careful that you hopefully don't get too many tails. And also, in general, you want to use attacks with coin flips as little as you can. With Electabuzz, it's unavoidable. But coin flips take about 1.5 seconds each, and that really adds up over the run. There will be times, especially in the water gym, where favorable coin flips may need to be forced. At which point we'll show off in real time some RNG manipulation. We'll explain those RNG mechanics as they come up, just because that would eat all of our time. But going into here, we have the pre-gym leader battle against Joshua. He has the 2nd most basic Pokemon in his deck of anyone in the game, and so this tends to be a long, drawn-out fight. So far, while Josh has a lot of Pokemon, none of them are especially threatening, so this is a relatively safe fight. but it looks like that getting tails is concerned. So one thing that Tornite just did there, where he soft reset the game and kind of went back in time in the battle, Pokemon trading card game kind of has its own equivalent of save states called Continue Duel, which is that if you turn off the game and come back to it, it will return you to the battle at your most recently completed decision point. Which is really handy if you haven't finished clicking through all the menus about the decision you just made, such as if you did an attack and you don't like it. So what Toro did is realize that he was going to flip tails, and then went back in time basically to play a defender trainer, which prevents damage to self, in order to mitigate the effects of that tails. Using these kind of like information gathering techniques with Continue Duel will happen throughout the run. And it's a great way to make otherwise risky strategies a lot safer.
And I want to take this opportunity to kind of dispel a long-standing backyard, one of those like Mew is under the truck rumors. No, if you don't... If you hit the A button on the coin flip when the Pikachu face is just about to start hitting, no, it is not an automatic heads. It is predetermined. And so many people believe that. I believed that when I was a kid because I read that online. So I'm just here to also dispel that rumor that you cannot manipulate the coin flip in that regard. It'd be cool, but unfortunately, that's not the case.
That said, there are a lot more cool ways to manipulate the coin flip that we'll be doing probably in this battle. This is one of the more important battles for coin flips. So the way the RNG works, just as short as I can make the explanation, the RNG constantly increments every frame like a lot of old games until you start a battle, at which point the RNG stops incrementing until something needs a random number, at which point the RNG will be incremented. And relatively few things need random numbers in the trading card game, which means that it's like only when a coin is flipped or a deck is shuffled, very rarely when a CPU makes a certain decision, and that's about it. So if you use an attack and it gets tails, you could use that Continue Duel feature to go back in time and then maybe play a card that shuffles your deck or play a card that flips a coin. And then now the coin flip that you get when you use that attack will be different. Or maybe different, 50-50 chance again, right? You get another roll of the dice, so to speak.
Oh, I got it. Unbelievably unlucky. That is extremely rare to see in this category.
Yep. The good news is you gave us time to explain the RNG. So,
yeah. Happy accident.
So yeah, coin flip manipulation.
I accidentally just, you know what? I'm just going to reset that. Fine.
Just try again, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
So Mysterious Fossil is a trainer card that we have that is basically a fake Pokemon. It is useful to serve as a buffer to like take attacks and stuff while we're setting up. But you shouldn't attach energy cards to it.
Never.
And Toro basically just kind of fumbled through the menu there.
Now,
with menuing this fast, it's really easy to make mistakes. So that's another benefit of this constant saving and resetting that we do, is that you can go back if you make an input mistake.
Yeah, now
would love to have that feature in a lot of other speed games.
Now I could be naughty and just actually use the Switch Online's rewind feature to just undo that mistake that way, but we're trying to do this legitimately. So
yeah, that's outright cheating versus this legitimate method within the rules. So
okay, that's gonna be actually a very, very good potential RNG coin flip manipulation instance.
Yeah, after a couple false starts there and some really bad luck, the only thing standing between Toro and victory is a tails here. Smokescreen is an attack that gives you a 50-50 chance of it failing. Since Toro knows he got a tails, he can play a Pokeball to use up the tails, and then he gets a new coin flip for the attack to lock in the win. That is a perfect example of coin flip RNG manipulation that Tornite just did to win that battle.
All right, now that we got 2 medals, we are now going to encounter our rival Ronald for the first time, and we have this incredible stat to get through Ronald. It's genuinely one of the greatest strats in speedrunning history of all time. I kid you not, it is that powerful that it is a guaranteed 1,000% sure progression We go up against Ronald. He got this. Look at him. He got smug, smell you later, Gary Oak energy. It's a Gen 1 Pokemon game. Of course, the rival's going to act that way. So we got our Magnemite right here. And we are going to, let's see, hopefully we don't get confused. All right, perfect. So now that we go and set up Magnemite. Oh, wait, hold on. No,
you lost.
I misclicked. I self-destruct.
Oh, what an awful mistake. No, All right, so.
Listen, hold on. We got another chance. I did say this is a surefire strat for progression. I never said winning.
Yes, that there is no reason to win a rival fight in Pokemon trading card game. The only reward is a card that we won't use, and it's a 6 prize fight that takes too long. So the fastest way through it is to guarantee a loss using a Pokemon that can KO itself, and Magnemite is one we have a lot of that has a cheap attack to do it. Shout out to AJ for coming up with that strat for intentional losing. In the past, before we figured that out, we were just throwing out weak Pokemon and hoping Ronald would decide to win, which he doesn't always do. So we force the issue with Magnemite. It's very nice.
A lot of the stuff in this game, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of things in this game really can be credited to AJ. We even have a strat that we may potentially see in the next couple of fights, literally call AJ strat, because AJ is that influential to the progression of this game's speedrunning history.
Now, when it comes to levels of the Pokemon, like right now it has a level 8 Diglett, which is punching above its weight on a level 35 there. How do the levels play into this? Is there any sort of thing we need to do? Okay.
They do not.
So yeah, level is essentially part of the name of the card for this game. So it's essentially just like the Pokemon's name is Diglett level 8. But there's no experience, there's no leveling up. There is evolution from playing the evolved form of a Pokemon on top of its basic Pokemon form, but Diglett level 8 is just what the card's called.
And there's one specific fight that I'm actually glad you actually mentioned, brought to attention the level. There's one fight in this game that I always absolutely love pointing out the levels discrepancy, because you would never in a million years have to would ever see this in a regular TCG or a regular Pokemon RPG game. But I'm not going to spoil it just because you will. It's one of those, like, if you play this game long enough, you will know what matchup I will be referring to.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going to say, for now, Diglett level 8 is really punching above his weight here, hanging out with these 30s and 40s and just 2-hit KOing them all. But yeah, no, the big thing for this Lightning Club gym leader battle here is that Diglett and his evolved form Dugtrio resist lightning. And so all of these lightning Pokemon basically cannot touch Diglett. So other than status, it's only a matter of time before this gym leader is defeated. It's almost a free fight.
Yeah, so right now, I think, so we're kind of going to a little bit of a boss rush. A little bit of a boss rush segment, because the next few fights are just going to be nothing but bosses. So Dugtrio is going to play a massive role in this. Normally, I don't include Hitmonchan in this one, but because we only have one Dugtrio, I'm going to play this a tiny bit safer and adding Hitmonchan into the fold.
Yeah, and you'll need Hitmonchan in the next one anyway. So
yeah, that is true.
Doesn't hurt. So we're now battling Kem, the fire gym leader. And despite fire not having any weakness or resistance or anything with fighting, Ken's deck happens to have a lot of colorless normal type Pokemon in this case, who are weak to fighting. So Diglett and Dugtrio remain a strong option. Stronger than the water types who would have access to as well.
That Jigglypuff artwork was something else. That was like the angriest singing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think there are 3 different Jigglypuffs in this game, and they all have phenomenal artwork.
Am I... Okay, maintenance... Okay, this is going to re-roll the RNG, so that is perfect. I was going to take an L right there, but hopefully...
Yeah, hopefully you get a Tails here, because that maintenance does shuffle your deck.
There we go.
Nice. Yeah, so heads would have made Tauros' 20 damage attack do 10 more, which would have KO'd right as Toro was about to win the fight. So being able to see if you can save it saves a lot more time versus just restarting.
Boy, that Hitmonchan sure came in handy for this one.
So the vibes of the Hitmonchan being in the deck gave you the luck you needed.
You know, when you're right, you're right.
So we do have some people in chat just now joining us partway through the run. Do we want to take an opportunity to explain hard mode again?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Pinecone, floor is yours as we're about to deal with maybe the most annoying annoying boss fight pre-Pokemon Dome.
Yes. So hard mode is a category extension of the normal any percent glitchless speedrun for Pokemon trading card game, where a save corruption glitch is used so that you start the game with no cards, which makes it very hard to play a card game. How Tornite has been doing this, instead of having the dependable 90 cards that we know we start with, Tornite has been gathering cards anywhere he can, from winning battles, from a mailbox, from a guy giving him free energy cards, and basically kind of ad-libbing the decks that he will be using to complete the trading card game run here. It's hard mode because you literally are routing on the fly as you play it. It's a lot more like a roguelike than a speedrun at that point. And Toro is one of the best to do it.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. I might be one of 3 people ever to have gotten a sub-hour PB in this category.
That is true. I mean, yeah, one of the best to do it in a niche Pokemon game is maybe more limited. But you know, there are almost dozens of us. But yeah, in any case, Toro's fighting the Psychic Club here.
It's funny to hear it described as a roguelike, because people who have been with us for a while might remember our older theme, which was Soulslikes, Roguelikes, and Metroidvanias. So any opportunity to get something described as a roguelike is always welcome.
All right, cool. We got a free win.
Yeah, no, the random elements, I mean, there's not literal permadeath, but in a speedrun you might as well have it. And then, you know, having to adapt on the fly to what you get is, you know, brings up memories of like Slay Aspire, Balatro, other roguelike card games kind of things, you know.
All right, so we got our 5th medal, or badge, however you want to call it. It's time to see if the intended Magnemite strat that was always there from the very beginning and not accidentally click self-destruct is going to work this time. I have a feeling that we're going to get through Ronald pretty easily. It's a hunch. I know it's hard mode, but I just have a hunch.
All right, all you got to do is not click the lose button. We'll see what happens.
No promises.
All right, literally the only thing that can go wrong in this fight is if you attach the lightning energy first.
Hey, Pinecone, which button should I not hit? This one?
I don't know. Look inside your heart, decide what the heart of the cards tell you. Oh, sorry, wrong game.
I don't think I'm supposed to click this button. Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to click this button.
Oh no, you lost again. Oh no. All right, well, yes, the second Ronald fight is much like the first. There's no reason to win it because the reward is very little and the time loss is very great. There will be one more Ronald fight at the very end of the game, and we do have to win that one. So hopefully that time we'll remember to not hit self-destruct.
Pinecone, do we actually have to win that one? Do we?
Up to you. I mean, you're the runner here. Runner's choice. But yeah, Tornite picked up a Mewtwo here, which is a card you unlock, a promotional card you unlock for beating the Psychic Gym. And this Mewtwo level 60 is able to do 40 damage on turn 2, much like Electabuzz, and through a mechanic where if it can attach energy to itself via the discard pile. We'll see if we're able to actually do that part. But it is a strong Psychic type attacker. Because all of the normal types in the game resist Psychic, there's limited battles where we can use it, despite it being really powerful. But Mitch, the fighting type gym leader, is a perfect perfect case for it.
Unbelievable. First go at it. I'm so happy.
Oh, and got the Oak too. So the Oak puts the energy cards that were in Tornite's hand into the discard pile so that Mewtwo can use its attack to attach those energy cards directly to it, saving 2 turns. Big time save there.
Yeah, no, this is literally the optimal. This is like about as good a start opening hand you could possibly ask for in hard mode. I am very, very happy. This is a fight that if you get really bad deck shuffling RNG, oh boy, you're going to be in this fight for a while, because Mitch has a lot of very powerful high damage dealing Pokemon. But thankfully, Mewtwo is king, so.
Yep. Yeah, and fighting Pokemon in this game can do damage really quickly. So if Mewtwo doesn't get that quick setup, it can be taken down before Mewtwo has a chance to attack. So having that turn 1 locked in setup on the first try was a huge stroke of luck for Tornite. Really making the best use of the cards that we were able to randomly get. And next up is Science Club, which Science is not a type. It's not a type in the card game. It's not a type in the video game.
There are so few types in the TCG in 1998. They had to invent a gym.
They had to invent 2 types. Yeah, so there are only 6 types in the Pokemon trading card game in 98, like other than colorless. And so Rock Gym was one of the types invented, which is really another form of fighting in this card game. And then Science, as best as we can tell, it's like an analog for like Bug or Poison, sort of, kind of. But yeah, all the Pokemon in Rick's deck are also weak to Psychic. So in addition to Mewtwo, a more reliable strategy for Rick is to use Abra and Kadabra. And that's because Kadabra does slightly more damage and can evolve, and the evolution process can cure status moves that sometimes hinder Abra.
All right, this is, by the way, you were mentioning levels earlier. Notice the level in that Mewtwo. Notice the level in this Abra. Have you noticed that it is actually, that if you were to play this in the card game, this literally cannot happen. Abra does not know any moves other than teleport at this point in time in the franchise.
Yep. Yeah, but the magic of trading card games, a tiny level 10 Abra can beat literally the most powerful Pokemon in the game in just a couple of turns.
And with the artwork, the Abra is just like sitting under the tree having a picnic too. Like, this is nothing to me. I just punch Mewtwo in the face like whatever I want. I'm not even gonna stand up for it.
Yeah, we love chill, low effort Abra. Kadabra is significantly more hardcore in the art here. Very, very focused and determined. And just like that, the Rick battle is also done.
Yeah, actually, shout out to Pinecone for actually inspiring me to use this strategy. Typically, I would just only go for Abracadabra. However, seeing Pinecone over the past year using a hybrid Kadabra Mewtwo strategy for this fight and the next one we're about to do actually kind of makes this portion of the run a tiny bit more consistent, believe it or not. At least in my personal experience. So that is one of the cool things about Pokemon TCG is that the game is never truly optimized. And I think that's to its benefit because this game rewards a lot of creativity and it rewards experimentation, doing a lot of things that, that kind of goes against the norm in some regards. And a lot of times you strike gold. Pinecone, another example is the fact that for years, we did not even take a look at the Bulbasaur deck as a potential starter option. And it wasn't until Pinecone, I think, what are we talking, 2021, 22?
21, yeah.
Where you kind of took a look at this deck and thought to yourself, wait a minute, there's a lot of really good stuff to take advantage of. And it's now basically the premier starter choice for top runners. Like if you look at every single top runner who has entered the top 10 in the last few years, with the exception of Rock and Trek, shout out to Rock, by the way, all of them have used, including myself, have used the Bulbasaur deck.
Right. Unfortunately for hard mode, we don't get any decks, so I can't make. But in all seriousness, though. This is not a game with a fixed route, certainly not for hard mode, but even in the more conventional speedrunning games, anything from the decisions of the order of the battles you make to the cards that go into your deck, which always varies a little bit every time, but certainly in hard mode it varies a lot. to which Pokemon you use. There's significant like runner preference and experimentation there, and so it's a very cool game for trying out new things and seeing what works. For this last segment before the dome, we have to beat the grass gym. And so we're going with you got Ponyta Rapidash there, right?
I only have Ponyta. Unfortunately, hard mode strikes again. I get no Rapidash, but I do get base set Magmar, which is
base set Magmar. I see.
Yeah,
so that's a good backup. So these are both Pokemon that have the ability to do 30 fire damage by turn 2, and with Grass's typical weakness to fire, that is often enough. But yeah, the exact fire types you use are going to depend on what cards you get, both in hard mode and in regular runs. So we're fortunate to get both Ponyta and Magmar in good quantities, which are two strong options.
Yeah, there's a realistic chance in this category. Actually, and even very rarely in 80% glitchless, you do not get a chance to draw a single Ponyta and a single Magmar. So you, at least for me, I'm left scrambling on the very rare occasions it happens to think of a new deck on the fly. And it's whether it's trying to go for why am I saving the game? Not yet. It's either going with Charmander again if I also happen to get Charmander, because there's also a chance I don't get Charmander, or Growlithe. So like I said, the one thing about this game is that you have to be prepared to think on the fly. So a lot of it is mental, and that is one of the really cool things about this, is the fact that it challenges you in ways that traditional speed games typically don't, is being able to route things out on the fly and kind of do a lot of like quick maths that you otherwise don't really have to think about in other speed games. Like I speedrun stuff like Ghost and Yard, Mario Golf, Spyro. Like none of those things have me rethinking everything that I know on the fly.
Yeah, not just in deck building, but also especially within battles. There is constant decision making being made. You're being thrown in situations you haven't seen before, where you have, microseconds to make a decision optimally.
Microseconds.
There's different ways you have as long as you want, I suppose, but every second counts in a speedrun, right? But in any case, so being able to deal with things like this status here, how's Toro going to get out of this one? Is Toro going to try to manipulate the battle beforehand? Is Toro going to... we're going to have to see. I actually don't know.
Wait. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, this is one of those things where we're like, okay, this is where I'm thinking on the fly. Poison, okay, 1998. I can't think modern TCG. Gotta think 1998 rules. I can escape.
Poison is just 10 damage here.
I can escape the damage, escape the poison, and just have this fossil beat the sacrificial lamb.
This is where Mysterious Fossil really comes in handy, because it doesn't count as a basic for starting the battle. Like, you still have to draw a Ponyta, but it does count as a basic for giving you something that you can retreat into. And if you retreat in 1999 Pokemon, it cures status. So it's a great way to get rid of the poison and to lock in the guaranteed W for the Nikki fight here.
All right, so now we are actually only 5 fights away from beating the game. And you would think to yourself, man, Turn Knight's really, really underestimated. Oh, trust me, I'm going to need... I don't know how much time. I don't know what the timer is right now. There's a chance I might need...
pretty good, I'd say.
I'm going to need every second of it. So first of all, I'm going to enter here, see that there's Grandmasters, a deck, a table, and everything. Run away like a little baby, open my mail and see what bills I have to pay.
Right. So going back to the very beginning of the run, when we had absolutely no cards, our only source of cards was an email. However that works. The game actually sends you emails as you challenge each of the gym leaders in order to help give you good cards and advice. But we haven't been checking them because we haven't needed to. But now going into the Pokemon Dome, we want as much reliability as possible. We want to buff our card count as much as possible. So we're just really quickly opening all these free booster packs we get in the mail. Which is, maybe 30 seconds, 45-second time penalty. But ultimately, the reliability is worth it. We're getting some really key trainers in the Coliseum packs. We got some Like we got a potion and an oak, I think. We got a plus power, some really useful things that'll help us. That last might even come in handy.
Yeah, that might be one I'm including just so I could scramble the AI here. So let's see.
Yes.
Oh, time to see what I have. Oh, there's the Rapidash. Cool. Nice of you to show up too late.
Now you have Rapidash. Perfect.
Let's see. What do I got? 2 Articunos and 3. I'm not in love with our searching ability, so I'm actually going to go with Articuno, which I am more than okay with.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple of options for this first Elite Four battle. We're battling the Grandmasters in the Pokemon Dome. Now, Courtney has a Moltres-based fire deck, so we want a water type. Articuno is, of course, the water bird, right? Now, in the game, it's an ice type, but in the trading card game, it's a water type because there is no ice, and water beats fire. So normally this would be a terrible matchup in the video game, but in the card game, it's a very good one.
By the way, as we're about to kind of go through the first fight, Pinecone, I want to explain how every single member of this dome is using illegal cards that should not ever be used and have never been used in real life.
That is absolutely true. So the game has some Game Boy exclusive cards in them, including the legendary Pokemon cards. These are the cards that you as a trainer are hoping to win. And they're the 3 legendary birds and then Dragonite. All 4 of these cards have an effect that happens as soon as you put them into play. Moltres, for this battle, has an effect that searches the user's deck to get more energy cards, probably the mildest of the effects for our purposes. So these illegal cards, as in they have never been printed in real life, are giving the AI a huge advantage. They have 100 HP and no weakness, so they're very hard to take down. So we'll just have to do our best here. Articuno is able to do 50 base damage with 4 energy, which is 2 at KO on these 100 HP Moltres. And then the water type advantage makes quick work of all of the other Pokemon in the battle. So far we're having pretty good luck, haven't had major issues with status or attacks. Moltres can do 70 damage at once if it successfully flips a coin and gets 3 energy, but fortunately Toro was able to KO this Moltres before that happened.
Chat is shouting out the incredible music that we have going right now.
Oh my god, the music, it's so good. If you ever have a free 30 minutes, 45 minutes of and just in the mood of listening to some really good old school Game Boy soundtrack, this is an excellent soundtrack to listen to.
Yes. Yeah, the trading card game soundtrack, when I was trying to pick a game to first start speedrunning, one of my friends gave me the advice of pick a game whose music you could never get sick of. And I immediately thought of trading card game because every single one of these songs is a banger, but especially the Pokemon Dome music. So going into this next fight, Tornite's going to be switching to a Diglett Dugtrio deck that, if I had to guess, Tornite will be using for the rest of the run. But this next fight it's particularly useful for is the legendary Pokemon is Zapdos, and so it's a lightning deck, and Dugtrio resists lightning. Zapdos is the most problematic for us and most annoying of the legendary birds. There are 3 different kinds of Zapdos in this deck, but the legendary Zapdos with 100 HP is the biggest problem by a lot. That one that we saw is also a problem.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. So the problem with Zapdos is, unlike every other lightning type, it resists fighting. Now, Dugtrio is such a powerful Pokemon that we're able to overpower that resistance, but we need to have the Dugtrio in order to do that. And when we only have 1 in the deck, taking your chances on happening to draw the Dugtrio at a right time can be risky. Luckily, we have cards like Pokeball that'll help us search for it, and getting heads allows us to pick any Pokemon we want, like that Dugtrio, which we now have saved for later.
Yeah, that Zapdos is going to be okay. All right.
Oh no!
All right. Listen, we're having a fun. Actually, wait. I can try to see if we can. Let's see if we can manipulate it.
The energy search will. So the thing that just happened is that Zapdos's on-play Pokemon power does 30 damage at random. Oh no!
I'm gonna keep it because I have I'm gonna keep it because I have Duck Trio.
You have to evolve and not attack. Yeah.
And we're not gonna get many chances to get Duck Trio.
Yeah, that is fair. Oh, and it didn't even play the Zapdos now that Duck Trio's out. That's very odd. The AI does very strange things.
That's actually great news because now everything's completely re-randomized. So now there's a chance that that legendary Zapdos ends up hitting his own Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So
that Zapdos does 30 damage without weakness or resistance to a random Pokemon on either side of the battle. So it was very, very bad luck that it hit our Pokemon both times, even after we moved the RNG around using Energy Search. Our last case scenario was to evolve to Dugtrio so that even if the RNG hit again, we would still have 40 HP remaining. But for whatever reason, evolving to Dugtrio made the AI not play that Zapdos, at least right away. Also a clever move there, playing that Defender saved Dugtrio from the only regular attack in the deck, one of the only 2 regular attacks in the deck that can actually KO Dugtrio. A bit hard to explain that in the time. Oh, there's another one? Oh my god.
Okay. Trying to think.
What options? You got an item finder. Is there anything?
You can play the
Diglett.
I'm gonna play the Diglett first. That is option 1.
Yes.
We'll then see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Perfect. All right, there we go.
Perfect. All right. So very deep RNG fun facts. Zapdos first rolls the RNG to decide which side of the field to attack with that power, and then it picks a position on the field. First it's so once it hits your side, it's guaranteed to hit something on your side with that RNG value, but you can put things on the bench to decrease the chances of your active Pokemon being the one that's KO'd. So we played a sacrificial Diglett there to make sure our champion Dugtrio stays alive. A very quick on your feet thinking that allows us to save this battle. Could have been a several minute time loss if it weren't for that.
Yeah, no, this is one of those things. And believe it or not, had that Diglett threat not worked, I actually had a second way to get myself out of a jam because of that maintenance card I had that Pinecone pointed out a second ago. This is okay. So let me lay it all out. This is the hardest fight in the game. It's not even close.
Yeah, I would say so.
This is by far an absurdly difficult fight. Jack has everything you could possibly hate as a speedrunner of this game. You want status effects? He's got like 20 million of them. You want high damage dealing Pokemon? Oh, hey, we can do Lapras. We can do several forms of Articuno and a Dugong. So, and also it has damage sponges. This is going to be
Chansey and the like.
Okay.
So this becomes very, very challenging because these 120 HP or 90 HP normal types for damage, sponging damage like Chansey, that incentivizes you to pick a fighting type Pokemon to beat those quickly. But all of these water types that, if given room to set up, will do 50 plus damage in one turn, that incentivizes you to pick like a lightning type. And so what do? Or a general attacker that can do anything. So what do you do? In this case, given the cards that Tornite has received, the Dugtrio is probably the way to go, but there's a lot of different battle outcomes that could work against Tornite here. So he kind of needs to wait for the perfect situation or try to force it by using trainer cards at the right time. Looks like that Pokeball did get heads, so we are able to retrieve the one Dugtrio we have, which is super important. He's debating on once he used a full heal here because it could KO the Ditto, and he does. And Item Finder will allow him to get that full heal back later, so that could potentially be really important. The only downside with Dugtrio against these legendary birds with 100 HP is it is a 3-hit KO with the Earthquake attack, instead of a potential 2-hit KO with something like Articuno's attack. but ultimately that trade-off is worth it to be able to one-hit KO the damage sponges, because they can stall for so much time that in a speed run, it's really important to, you know, if you want to lose, if you're gonna lose, you want to lose quickly. You don't want to win a slow fight in a speed run. You want to either lose quickly or win quickly, and so Dugtrio definitely is kind of the all-in move for this fight.
Ooh, do I get Dugong?
Luckily, Dugtrio's fully powered up, and that Dugong.
That's fine.
If that Dugong gets 3 energy and evolves, it can do 50 at once. But luckily, Tornite had an energy removal in hand that he's able to go back in time and use. So now Seal won't even bother to evolve, which is very good news. Allows the one-hit KO here, and now Chansey, weak to fighting, also one-hit KO'd. Woo, yeah, you escaped from like 3 different perilous situations in that one. Lots of super quick thinking. It's impossible to explain in time. Now we get a bit of a breather in the Pokemon Dome. Rod is definitely the easiest of the 4, and the main reason for that is that Rod's Pokemon are very powerful, but they all require evolving. And, you know, being a speedrunner, being a speed-based deck, we're doing a lot of damage really quickly. So Rod just doesn't have time to get his deck functional. So while it can go, you know, it's not guaranteed to be like a 30-second fight or anything like that. Things can still go wrong. It's a bit lower stakes. It gives you a little room to breathe when you're preparing for the final fight of the game, Ronald.
Okay. This is in... Okay, no, I think I know how to... This is a really dicey situation. Mm-hmm. I think I know how I want to play this. Okay, I think, yeah, I know how I definitely know how I want to play this. Oh, actually, this actually works out perfectly.
Yeah, I think you're all right now. Yeah, there's certain edge cases where Charmeleon can appear and be attack on like turn 2 of play that can be really lethal for Diglett. And Tornite's trying to kind of be mindful by using cards like Gust of Wind and energy removal to ensure that doesn't happen.
Brick. There we go. Okay. Whew.
Oh, nice.
I was actually in a really bad spot, believe it or not. Cool. Second.
Yeah, I think you're safe now.
For now. But Kangaskhan does have the ability to add more Pokemon to the deck, so I'm going to
so King
just bank on just getting another Professor Oak and 2 chances at a...
Hey, 2 Pokeballs. At least one of them's got to be heads, right?
One of them.
Right?
No.
Right?
No.
Oh, well, we tried.
It didn't matter either.
It worked out anyway.
Didn't matter. A level 8 Diglett. One level 8 Diglett took out this game's version of Lance.
Yep. It's levels are truly wild in this game.
Levels are nothing more than...
you've been the Elite Four. That means you've won, right?
No.
Oh no, there's one more battle.
This is for
Who could have seen this coming? Yes, it's Ronald, and this time we're not allowed to lose.
Oh, beautiful. This is about as good an opening hand as I could ask for, if I'm actually being serious.
Oh, yes. And you got the Moltres start. So Ronald has one of each of the legendary birds. And if you remember what I said about gym leaders cheating, where they rig the top of their deck, Moltres' on-playability that searches for energy cards also shuffles the deck. So Ronald undid his own cheating. So this is actually a very strong start for Tornite here. In addition, Tornite's hand has all the cards he needs, basically.
There's a little dicey. I am going to definitely need some luck here. Actually, no. Oh wait, no, never mind. I forgot.
No, you'll be in KO range after this, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, never mind. I forgot. Ronald does not know how to build a deck. Okay, quiz time, everybody.
That is true.
Quiz time, everybody. You know how we need energy corresponding in most instances with the Pokemon's type to, actually play the game and actually be able to attack. Moltres, okay, you got the fire energy. That makes sense, okay? You got Zapdos, lightning energy. You can do a lot of damage. Articuno can do a fixed 40 to rain the Pokemon on the opponent's bench. That needs water energy. You're following me along, right? Guess what he doesn't have? Water and lightning energy. He has none. This is the worst.
It's an all-fire energy deck which has like 4 Pokemon wasted on attacks they literally can't use.
Now, I know people like to say, Lance is the worst champion of all time. Or they like to say, I didn't like Diantha so much in X and Y. No, Ronald is the worst Pokemon champion of all time. In fact, so much so that we spent this entire explanation kind of talking down
just ripping on him
that we
and
just
then
won.
easily beating him.
That we just won.
Hey!
So time is going to come up in about 35 seconds.
Yep, yeah, I gotta skip through a few cutscenes, but that is the last battle of the game. You've been presented with the legendary Pokemon cards, and after a quick cutscene to receive these legendary Pokemon cards, once the screen flashes to white from the overworld, that will be time. Coming up in about 15 seconds.
It's even better that that's the final boss doesn't know how to make a Pokemon deck.
Yeah, no, yes, because why not? Because why not? Time is coming up in 3, 2, 1. Time.
GG's.
Oh my God, was that? What was the time on that one?
Stream will catch up in a little bit, but somewhere around just over an hour.
Wow, that is for
not
hard
bad.
mode. That is a phenomenal run. Phenomenal run. Most runs, like your average hard mode run, can go anywhere from like high 10x to all the way to an hour 20 if you're not careful or if you're not experienced in this category. Thankfully, I have. By the way, this is kind of like a little bit of a historic run. This is the fastest hard mode run in a marathon setting ever.
That is true, but it's also the second one.
No, it's actually the third one. It's actually the third one.
Oh, really?
I actually did one 2 years ago. Did not go super well. The last time I did it was last October. And obviously, so we have a little bit of time. I actually want to kind of share a little bit of the story of how we actually got to this point. Our wonderful host and I, we were talking a little bit, actually, we met up a few weeks back before GDQ, talking about the Mario Relay and everything, because, I am the greatest Redcoin TikTok clock star of all time. That's, check the tape. But we were talking, and I had suggested the idea of like hard mode actually being a thing. Pokemon TCG hard mode is a thing. I never would have suggested that in a million years had it not been for one specific person. And I want to give a shout out and I should kind of dedicate this run to Alara. Alara is a wonderful member of the speedrunning community. She does not play Pokemon TCG whatsoever, but she is a big fan of like very obscure, very niche, challenging types of speed runs. And back in the summer, we were in Pittsburgh, we were talking, and she, out of the blue, she said, so tell me about this hard mode you got in TCG. And she convinced me, I don't know how, she convinced me to submit this for an in-person event at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo. So shout out to Steel City Speedsters for organizing that event and for giving me the chance to showcase that run. That run, I have said time and time again since then, last October, as far as like the overall what makes a marathon run so entertaining, I consider that my magnum opus. That was one of the greatest marathon runs I've ever done and probably will ever do in my entire life. And it's given me the confidence to be able to showcase this game here on GDQ. And the fact that this beat that run by almost 10 minutes, it's honestly astonishing. And I could not have done it if it wasn't for Alara convincing me over 6 months ago, which the butterfly effect is arriving to here today. And I'm very gracious and thankful, not just to you for letting me be on your show, but to the entire Pokemon TCG speedrunning community. It was the first game I ever learned how to speedrun. It was what got me hooked into speedrunning in the first place. I tried learning other games, but it was this game that gave me the opportunity to do a lot of really cool things in Pokemon TCG and speedrunning in general. I would not be where I am today if it were not for this game. I have met many wonderful people with this game, Pinecone being one of the many people to do so. I've been able to travel and to so many different places, and all of that started with this game. I cannot thank this game enough, and for speedrunning for giving me the opportunity to, kind of put us all where we are at today. And I am very, very happy to be able to to be here, and I just can't say enough great words about this game. I can't say enough great words about the entire speedrunning hobby with all the people who are a part of this. I am so thankful to have been in more ways than one. This game has enriched my life to an unbelievable degree, and this run is just further proof of that. I just want to thank everybody who basically got me to where I am today. Sorry for the long-winded speech. I know we are a little bit underestimate. If it's all right, I would like to showcase one or two things that Pinecone and I actually kind of discovered literally minutes before we went live.
Yeah, let's do it. And if you don't have chat open, Alara is here with us, and there's a cutie at the end of the name. So hello, cutie, Alara, welcome.
Thank you, Alara. Again, you're an absolute rock star, and I am so thankful to have met you. So it's gonna require us to rewind all the way back over an hour ago, and that is to. Why am I on? Wait, that's the proper save. There we go. That's where I wanted.
That is true.
So let's set the table. This is the same save state that I started this entire run with. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I mean, you see cards names, but 0, 0, 0. You see nothing.
Yeah.
I have no cards.
The save state starts with no cards, and so you don't have a deck.
So,
or you shouldn't have a deck, right?
I shouldn't have a deck. I really shouldn't. Now, let me show you what is supposed to happen when we actually start a duel. What is supposed to happen is we actually are supposed to be shuffling infinitely, because
you have nothing to shuffle, so the game just kind of soft blocks, right? But it looks like we found a new glitch, and we're gonna have to figure out what this means in a little bit.
Yeah, save corruption glitch has more ways than one. We have
also, hey, brand new Pokemon card named after Toro.
It's
just been invented on the spot right now.
Listen, I'm just saying, Nintendo kind of looked at that red coin TikTok clock, saw that I run this game, saw this absolute banger of a run, getting an hour, 15 minutes underestimate, and they did a live patch of the game. By the way, again, let me point out, this is completely legitimate. This is not a modded Switch in no way, shape, or form. I'm in the game, everybody. So let's kind of see. I'm both simultaneously a trainer card and an energy card at the same time.
This is a very weird glitch. Lots of strange things happen when Pokemon trading card game at the memory level. This is a game that does have an ace glitch. It has save corruptions, which is how we enabled this run. And one of the other quirks is that if the game doesn't know what a card should be, it just decides to grass energy. So we normally see that if a trainer card fails, but in this case, we're seeing it when there's a new card being invented.
I forgot to mention. Okay, are we gonna get the glitch? Yeah. Look at the text that is being put out. Look at the text. Attach. Somebody that reads Japanese, please tell me what it actually is attaching to Krabby.
It looks like it's one letter over and over again.
Yeah, one over and over again.
It's attaching like or something.
So
yeah, we are going stuff. We'll have to take a look for it.
So we are going to end this officially with showing off, normally in marathon settings, and I've done this at GDQ Hotfix appearances in the past. Hard mode starts the game past the tutorial. So typically I didn't get a chance to show this off earlier, but it is one of my favorite things, one of the coolest things you can do. If you're ever stuck in a battle, all you got to do is just press select, down A, and by pressing B and then A and down at the same time, you automatically win the duel and you can just go on your merry way. You can literally do this for any fight in the entire game and you can beat the game. This is how you beat the game in like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, the reason that these runs are quote-unquote glitchless, even though they start with a glitch, is because there is a glitch to simply win the battle. And so being able to press a certain button command on a certain screen to cause two things to happen at once causes this little dual escape crash, which the crash results in going back to the overworld, and the game is just like, you won. So a fun little thing to show off when we get a minute like this. But yeah.
I think Pokemon TCG speedrunning is going to have a very interesting 2026. So if you are ever curious about wanting to learn this game, we are always welcoming of new people. We have our own Discord server for that. If you go to speedrun.com and you click on the game, we have a little button that'll take you to our Discord server. We are always welcome for people joining in. And just real quick shout out, if you like what you see, I not only run this game, I run a bunch of different games like I said earlier. I'm in the middle of a challenge stream series where I am beating this game with decks that I have discovered through magazine scans and game guides from 25 years ago. And I'm going to try and beat the game with every single one of them. So far, 2 decks down. Both of them actually were successful, to my surprise.
All right.
I've heard of something similar done with Dark Souls using like IGN and GameFAQs guides. So like that's certainly an interesting dynamic. All right. I know we've been doing shout outs for like 15 minutes now. Any last words before we head out?
You're all awesome, and thank you so much for watching. You're all beautiful people.
Oh, well, that's very sweet.
Yeah, thank you for having us on hosting the trading card game. Toronite's been a great member of the community and representative public face for this game. As mentioned, feel free to reach out on the Discord if you have any if anyone has any interest in running the game. Check out either of our streams if you want to see speedrunners run the game in a non-marathon setting. And otherwise, yeah, thanks everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for showcasing that. Do want to do some final shout outs myself before we call the end of the show. So first off, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been here today. That's Chrysaurus, Wizard Person, Card of the Heart, Toronite, and Pinecone. Thank you so much for the 5 of you. Thank you to my wonderful producer, Richard, who is joining us here on a Thursday. We will be back, Perilous Paths, at our normally scheduled Monday night shows. Well, at least until President's Day. So one more Monday and then another Thursday, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And thank you all so much in the audience for showing out. I wasn't sure how well Pokemon and puzzles and things would do. We love P-words here. So thank you all so much for being here. This will definitely not be the last time we feature Pokemon after all of you came out and definitely hung out with us, shared your emos, shared your energy. It's been a great night. But don't go anywhere. We still have the scenic route coming right up after this with Osmorn, who's going to be doing some Minecraft. So one last time, Pikachu, wave goodbye to the audience. We'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.